so I could build some more guns, but I'm missing a couple things for each I'm trying to do, so that's not really going to work. So yeah, I'm just running out of things to do.
What kind of parts are you looking for?
Hey, don't get carried away. We got a flow here. We got a process. I was small talking with Mark while you figured out how to use technology.
So. I'll go back to my Amish ways.
Yeah, God's sake, churn some butter. Wait for us.
Views and opinions expressed in this production are those of the individual and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Shooters Nation or our sponsors. Information provided on this show is not a replacement for legal counsel or professional training. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows.
Welcome to the Shooters Nation podcast, the show created for you, the armed citizen. Join our hosts and subject matter experts as we talk about guns and gear, practical training and knowledge, Second Amendment issues, and the firearms culture. Be sure to join us after the show at shootersnation.com and become part of the Shooters Nation.
Welcome to another live episode of Shooters Nation. Tonight is Saturday, April the 11th, I think, 2020. We're once again hanging out with you. That's right. We're hanging out with members of the Shooters Nation community. So welcome all, lady and gentlemen. I'm assuming gentlemen. You may not be gentle. Before we get started, let me do some general housekeeping. First, I want to remind you all that you should hop on over to shootersnation.com. Save that site to your favorites. Why the heck would you do that? It's the hub of all things Shooters Nation. It's where you're going to find links to all of our social media and the full catalog of shows. Second, it's important to remind you, probably should have, this should have been like first in the reminders. But live shows, we have a disclaimer at the end of everything that we do. And so views and opinions expressed in this episode will be those of the individual and do not necessarily reflect those of Shooters Nation or our sponsors. Please also remember that live shows are meant for mature audiences only. You may want to hide your kids and pets. You may hear language and topics that aren't suitable for all audiences. I'm David Yancey, recording from our studio just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And with me tonight, co-hosting this madness is, of course, Mark Lancaster from Squared Away Customs in New Hampshire. Hello, Mark. I feel like this is kind of, I'm forcing myself. We've already said hello, but hello again.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. So let's see here. A little bit of housekeeping for Mark. Let's see. I'm going to try to make you a. What am I doing here? Is it co-host? What is it I'm trying to
co-host, admin, something? I forget what it's called.
Yeah, let's try that. Hey, did I want to do that? Well, it's too late if I didn't. You're now it. Yeah, I think that'll work.
Perfect.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, how are you doing? I forgot.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, okay.
I am doing good. A little stir crazy here in the house, but other than that, we're doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, what's the weather like? Are you guys like snowed in places still, or what?
A little rainy, a little cold. The last of the snow was gone this week. Actually, it was a month or so ago. About a 6-foot bank outside from the plow, and it last little bit of it left yesterday.
Right. A little sadness there, maybe not really.
No sad. No.
So we're now officially into mud season. Is that right?
Yeah, it was kind of a quick mud season though, because it was really warm early this year, so it kind of didn't last very long. Yeah.
Well, it's been nice here in Middle Tennessee. It's been the temperature dropped a little bit over the past few days. Sunny and windy, but still cold. Today was kind of nice and warm. Stayed outside, did a little bit of grilling. Did an early Easter dinner thing with the wife's family, so that was fun. Tomorrow, the weather's supposed to be complete crap. We may have tornadoes again. Who knows? That's what they're calling for, like pretty severe storms. So glad we're doing this tonight, not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what's really funny is having a green screen and a green water bottle.
I noticed that a second ago. That's kind of eerie. Yeah. Technology. Yeah. That's fun. So the picture behind you, where'd you find that one?
Yeah. The Google machine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you look at this, look at Jordan though. He found a picture with like a girl that's sitting next to him. It's pretty cool.
I was going to be his wife and everything. It's
right.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty neat. Never would have known.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking for a better one on Google too, but
dude, you're not going to need our help getting in the doghouse. Not at all.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
hey, I'd rather be there intentionally instead of unintentionally.
Right.
So
I'm rooting for Ashley. She's going to slug you like just right upside the head. It's going to be great. Viewers vote.
I don't know. Year into marriage, and I haven't done it yet. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
I don't know. We'll take a vote later. Like we get enough votes.
We may be able to make a fund if it happens on the Zoom.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
you could get paid.
A GoFundMe.
you need to
slugging.
set the over/under at the minute mark. It happens.
Very
Well,
cool.
hopefully you're recording video and it'll be on YouTube, right? You get to
Well,
see it
we're-
live.
Yeah, we are streaming to YouTube now, and so the people they're watching this about 20 seconds after the abuse happens. They will get to enjoy it. So, yeah, it's wonderful. Live episode. So we've done these before. They're always fun. People are going to filter in and out tonight as we do this. This is really just a hangout. It's a chance to get together with some of you guys, talk, catch up, see how things are going in your part of the world. I don't know how to put it out other than that. People are going to come, people are going to go. You're going to see people showing up on the screen, and you'll see people disappear, and that's just the way it is. Live episodes, they're very challenging from a production perspective. Literally anything could happen, and it usually does. So far, it looks like the equipment's holding up. We're streaming fine. I've got like 3 different screens going here. It's nuts. Just me doing it tonight. My wife is taking the night off. She's not going to help co-host from this perspective, this side of the connection. You may hear background noise, folks. Just what it is, right? I mean, this is the world we live in right now. It worked for me. Mark, I don't know what it's been like with you, man, with conference calls and stuff, but like everybody's hearing everything going on around them inside the houses. You got kids at home. You got
The funny thing about it is, it's like I'm literally, I've got 176 clients across the country that I deal with on a regular basis, and most of my day is spent on the phone.
Yeah.
And I'm selling guns to major retailers, online retailers, with a 2-year-old and my son 20 hours a week right now.
Right.
A 2-year-old in my lap, just sitting here on my lap and just plugging away, working the phones, and have a little Netflix or a little toy train in his hand or something like that, a little Netflix screen at the bottom left-hand corner. The first thing I always do, it's like, sorry, Mr. Customer, I have a 2-year-old in my lap today. They're like, we get it. We don't care. We just need what you're selling us.
So I got a question though. Like, how many of them are you connecting to, and you're hearing the same thing going on inside their house? Is it?
Oh no, definitely a lot of them. I mean, but a lot of them are gun shops, so they're essential, so they're at work. But then there's a lot of the guys that are, just buyers who are maybe not essential to be in store, so they're working from like a home office.
Oh yeah,
with very similar situations. So everybody, I think, is very accepting to it. I haven't had any complaints whatsoever, and everybody gets it. That's for sure.
It was one of the meetings I was on this past week, and I've gotten used to this behind me. This is my scene anytime that we've recorded for the past 2 years, roughly, and it's my scene when I'm doing video conferences at work, and I'm just not used to it. And then somebody on a conference is like, "Hey, man, this is fun. We're getting a glimpse at everybody's houses." And you're like, "Oh, great, yeah, wonderful." So. Thankfully, I've not had an AR propped up here in the back, behind me on a conference call for work or anything yet. But, there have definitely been some times where I had to kind of like double check, and it's like, am I on camera? Because I'm sitting here, during the day at work, dry firing, like all day long. I'm on mute. I'm dry firing. I pick something on the bookcase across from me, and I aim at it. And I dry fire, and I heard somebody the other day on the call say, "What was that noise?" And I kind of like, ooh. And it wasn't me, but I was expecting them to like, here's David dry firing at something across the room, and everybody's watching it. So at least that's not as bad as the woman that took her camera into the bathroom with her, right? So.
Oh man, that was hilarious. If you go to Instagram and you just do a search for #Zoom fail, there are so many good ones right now. It's pretty funny stuff.
So Jordan, your background. I mean, no, go ahead and leave it. Leave it. It was fine. It's just,
I was trying to figure out a way to. I'd have to mirror the photo and then mirror my video again. So
Right.
to put myself in Alex's place.
Well,
It's okay.
it was kind of funny because you had, Alex Jones cuddling your wife essentially on the couch. So yeah,
It may or may not be a depiction of real life events.
right. So, I also want to remind everybody that there's going to be a short delay between what you see on YouTube and what we see in the chat channel. So, it looks like Zachary is giving Jordan a little bit of grief, like he actually showed up again. So yes, that is true. Jordan did show up. I guess let's do this. I want to kind of get an idea of who's here with us and where you're from. And again, this is going to change dynamically through the episode. So I'm not going to stop every time somebody new shows up, but I'm just kind of going in like order I see you guys on screen. So Tony, welcome. What part of the country are you from, Tony?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Well, we've got friends in North Carolina, so I have to check in on, which, I mean, some of those guys.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, we could, never mind. I don't want to know. I wanted some dirt, but I don't want the dirt. So never mind. I'm not going to ask.
We don't
Zach,
want the dirt.
Yeah, we don't want the dirt. Zach, how about you, man? Welcome. Where are you from?
I'm from California, Southern California, San Diego. And it's been interesting lately.
Yeah, I bet.
But hanging in there. There's a lot going on in this state that pretty crazy, but doing the best we can.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna ask some questions about that. That's awesome that you're joining us from California. So, very good. I see Chris Martin down here joining. I know, Chris, you're in the state of Georgia. What whereabouts?
I'm in Conyers, which is about 20 miles east of Atlanta.
Very good. Glad to see you again. Chris has a busy week. So your family's grown in the past 7 days.
Yes. Yeah. I'm late getting on because that's where I was. So seeing the new grandchild. So yeah, enjoying that.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
So I have to ask, was Corona mixed, like worked in her name in any place at all? Or
no.
Okay, good.
No. Now she will forever be known for that because we're much like now. This is how I watched the birth, was on Zoom. So thank God for that.
Right.
But my wife was super triggered to not be in there with her for sure.
Man, I can't even imagine. Yeah. That's rough.
It was, well, but everything seems to be going good and everybody's healthy. So we're blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's good to have some good news like that happening in the world in the middle of a bunch of bad stuff. So,
amen.
Yeah. Awesome. So Chad, you're joining us as well. Where are you from?
I am in Oregon.
Oregon. All right, man. Yeah.
We have
but
the corners
luckily
covered.
I'm not up in Portland, so I'm good to go.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
You got a pretty good mic there. So is this tell me about that. Or you do podcasts very often or
Oh yeah, you may have heard of it before. It's the Gun and Gear Review podcast.
What?
Yeah, I'm the host.
What? That's awesome, man. Congrats.
If you go to our YouTube, you can see the nice flowery / striped background that covers all my wife's sewing stuff.
Right?
Yep.
Very good. Very good.
So yeah, I figured I'd come bless you guys with my, ugliness or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Your
That's
competition, awesome. Whatever.
Nah, man, there's no competition in this thing. We're all in this together.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
all this together.
Every podcaster I've ever met is like, hey, if you need anything, just holler.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So how long you been doing it?
I took over about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
The other host got a real job.
Oh man, that's disappointing.
Well, it's in the firearms industry, so I'm not sure if that's disappointing or not.
Yeah.
He just had too much stuff going on, so he's like, I was his co-host or one of them, and he's like, hey, I need somebody to take it over or it's going to die. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And now I've been doing it 2.5 years, so
yeah,
no stopping, I guess.
That's great. So what's your release schedule like? You on a weekly or?
We are.
Okay.
I usually say about 48 episodes a year because there's something always comes up. We record on Tuesdays, release on Fridays.
There you go.
You know,
there you go. Yeah.
As per everything. But yeah, we record to YouTube live on Tuesdays, and then I save the podcast, and I actually have an editor, so I don't have to edit out all the curse words.
Right.
But we're pretty good about it usually.
Yeah.
And then he posts it up, and I don't have to do any of that stuff.
That's great. That is great.
Yep.
Yeah. Much fun.
But yeah, that's why I have a decent mic. I'm actually on my crappy computer though, so my video kind of sucks. I don't know where my other laptop is. I think my child stole it.
It's a casualty of the quarantine. Yeah.
It is when you have a teenager at home that, is quarantined for who knows how long. And finally next week, they're starting back to school online. It's like, yeah, the laptop disappears.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Your bandwidth is going to take a hit and everything. So yeah, it's going to be
exactly. Luckily in here is the Ethernet. So I just plug stuff in here and I have decent bandwidth.
Right.
And they get the crappy stuff with the Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's great, man. No, I'm glad to have you here. This is fun. I think frankly, you may be the first surprise podcaster guest that we've had on yet. So we've had a few others, join, but it was always, we knew ahead of time. So that's fun. That is really cool.
It is fun. I mean, I don't know how long I'll be able to be on, but it's kind of one of those things. Yeah. I mean, with these kind of shows, it's like somebody comes on, you leave.
Yep.
Yeah. I think last week, I think I signed off at 2:45 in the morning, my time, something fun like that. It was
crazy. Yeah. And there were still guys on talking when we left.
Yep. I was like, I can't do this, guys. I'm falling asleep at my table here.
At least us people on the West Coast, it's, what is it? 6:30 almost. So we got it easy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and so in the middle of the screen, Ashley, welcome. So you just wave at us, I guess, so she.
Hello. Okay. He finally unmuted.
Yeah.
It, so.
What is this, man? Like, does she have to walk 3 feet?
Seems like too much control.
Hey, she's got the same access to the keyboard that I do. So
yeah. All right. Ashley, blink twice if you need to be rescued from this. So, yeah,
I'll eventually give him bunny ears if I need help.
Right. Very good. No, this is fun. Glad to have you here too. I bet Sandy's gonna be a little sad that she's not in here now. So,
Ashley, was that a Corona you were drinking?
No, I can't drink alcohol right now. It's a vanilla cream soda.
Okay. From the distance of the screen there, I was like, is she drinking a Corona? Is that some sort of a joke?
No.
No, but we could have poured your cream soda into a Corona bottle if we had one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Act like you don't have a trash bag full of those in the other room, Jordan. Yeah. If we
I don't drink any beer that costs less than actually just, the cheapest thing about my beer is my koozie. So.
Oh my God. It was a High Point koozie, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And actually it didn't cost me anything. So I wish I had a High Point to compliment it.
I think that's probably the nicest thing they make right there. Yeah.
That or their hat or their patches.
They don't make it as a koozie though. That's technically a High Point holster.
Is that? Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's actually a inside the waistband mag holder.
Right.
It's universal.
Yeah.
Even works for the 45 and 10 millimeter models. So, yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Well, so I think we've got everybody that's at least on the video with us. So this is fun.
We've got two that are signed on that are not showing video. So,
Yeah, let's see here.
Oh wait, that's Ashley.
I'm trying to figure out who. So I've got some other things happening here in the background. There's too much going on. I can't watch 8 different screens at once. But what is it? What is what me? Or what are we doing here? What is this? What show are we
Jordan,
doing?
do you have a second? Is Ashley connected through a phone line?
Yeah, Ashley's dialed in for audio,
right.
so we have separate audio outputs.
And then we have a Mark in the group too. That's not me.
Gotcha. All right. So I've got I'm trying to approve somebody to join in the Shooters Nation community so they can get the link to hop in the live stream. That'll be the last of those, Mr. Chuck. I know this guy. He's coming in here in just a second. Awesome.
Yeah, so
All right.
So there is a Mark in the group, but they have no audio connected for some reason. So
well,
hopefully if they get that connected up, we can give them an intro.
do something with it. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So, really the format of these is kind of like just keep your sanity, check in with everybody, see what's going on, a little bit of a hangout. The magic of the internet, Mark and I normally use this technology here to record. And, Chad, our recording schedule was generally like Thursday nights, and then we would try to release on Sundays. And, now it's just kind of like whenever we can scrape together some time to do it. But with the pandemic going on lately, Mark and I've talked about it. And it's like, we'd rather just kind of keep this going on a weekly basis if we can, at least for the time being. And that's good because it kind of gets us back in the groove of releasing episodes more often.
It was like 12, 18 months that we were weekly, right? It was a long time. We were every single week. Yeah,
it was. And man, you talk about, a lot of effort that goes into that. I was telling my sister-in-law's husband today about the first episode that we ever did, and Mark and I kind of chatted about it, for a little while. And then Mark said, "Well, let's do it." I said, "Well, when? Tonight?" "I can't do it now. We're not ready." "Let's do it. Let's just go." Right. And so he badgered me into doing it. And, we recorded weekly from that point out, really for, like you said, about, golly, man. It was nearly 2 years. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun though. And I do miss that. And I think we're going to get back into that too. So, I think the obvious question that I have for everybody is kind of like just how are things going in your part of the country right now? What are you dealing with? Here we are in week, I don't know, what is this, week 8, I guess, really, of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic in the United States. I'm definitely heading into the end of the first full month of working from home 100% of the time. And, we were kind of already struggling with cases coming into the United States well before that. So, I'm kind of going to go in maybe a little bit of reverse order here. And Zach, I'm honestly going to save you towards last, man, because, I have a feeling we're going to talk about that one a lot. But Chad, Portland, what's going on over there? What are you guys dealing with right now?
Yeah, basically, I don't know exactly what Portland's dealing with, but it's pretty much statewide. They ask you to stay in your home. Essential workers. You can go to the store, stuff like that. More people are wearing masks out. You notice now, which is good. The cases are you hear different things here and there. We're still, as far as the West Coast goes, we're pretty low on the actual cases list. And as far as Oregon goes, but really, I guess where I work, we're considered essential because we manufacture products that go into medical equipment. And
I would say that's essential these days. Yeah.
Right. Even though it's not masks or anything that you see, but it's still essential. And so, we do stuff for like trucking industries and stuff like that also. But, so I go to work every day. I come home, my wife's laid off because of this, because she worked retail, my son, he goes to college and it's all online now. But like where he works retail at a major, store, and they got them wearing masks and gloves now.
Oh yeah.
Which, and it's like, we're kind of like, which is good for them, but I think we're kind of at our peak here, which isn't huge. You guys have probably seen the couple veterans that, got over Corona in Oregon. I don't know. One was like 94, 95. One was 104. Those are literally like 15 miles away from here.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I think with that case, there were like 20 cases in the veterans home. And it was kind of at the beginning. So they all got it before really anybody was being tested. So, it's kind of that thing. But, life goes on. My daughter, my wife are driving each other crazy. But the stores are still open, so we got food for a couple weeks. For like 2 days, it was hard to find toilet paper. I guess if you go in the morning, you could find it, but there's still tons here. So,
man, yeah, that's apparently. So the toilet paper shortage in Middle Tennessee lasted a lot longer than I would have thought, and there's no logical explanation for it, no rational explanation at all. I really wouldn't have thought 2 months ago that toilet paper would become the commodity of the apocalypse, right? I mean,
right.
Everybody thought gold bars and stuff.
Well, and being from Oregon, we have lots of logging industry. We have lots of actual toilet paper plants, right? I mean, literally, I have friends that work at toilet paper towel manufacturing plants.
They can just cut down a tree and bring it home, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying they literally, if they miscut stuff off the big rolls,
right,
they get free stuff. So they have tons.
Well, you guys like no need to rub our noses in it. I mean, that's
but
opulence.
It was still off the shelf it's still hard to find. Yeah. I don't understand why either. I'm like, okay, I understand food. I understand all this other stuff. I even understand people buying all these guns.
Right.
But I'm like, toilet paper? Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have. I really wouldn't have guessed that was the way it was going to be either. I'm going to hop on up to the upper right corner for me. Tony, how about you, man? What are things like for you in your part of the country?
Pretty much the same. Like you see a lot more masks here lately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot more masks. People are being people. We went into a very small food chain store today to be able to get some groceries. We normally do our ordering online.
Yeah.
And half the stuff's not there. We're still in a toilet paper shortage. I think we got like 3 rolls left at the house if anybody wants to donate to the cause. So we're doing fine. But yeah, it's pretty much the same. A lot of people are staying home. I'm essential. I work for a pharmaceutical company that's actually working on a vaccine for this thing. So
that's right.
It's coming along. We're getting equipment in daily. So hopefully soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I think from what I've been reading online, we've got one of 2 ways to deal with this. Either everybody gets exposed to it and you just let your body's autoimmune system handle it and you develop a resistance if it doesn't kill you, or we develop a vaccine. And that's kind of like it. There's no other, it's not going away. It's now out in the wild. It's going to be here forever, roughly. So, that's kind of a scary thought, really, that you have those 2 choices. So, maybe you should get back to work. I don't know, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, actually, we've actually shut down the plant for the next 2 weeks for upgrades and part of getting ready to be able to do this.
Okay.
So, they do this twice a year. They do it twice a year. It's nothing new. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right.
When we get back up and going, they'll probably full bore.
Very good. Well, good luck. I hope it works out. So, Ashley, it looked a lot better there a second ago when Jordan left, but he's back. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah.
No, he already drained 1 IPA.
Yeah. Well,
had to go refill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not going to catch up with Brad.
No. Okay. So nice hat, Jordan.
Thanks. I thought you might appreciate it.
Yeah. So Jordan, we kind of, I don't know. You joined late last time. We didn't get to hear from you a whole heck of a lot, but we never get to hear from Ashley. So I'm going to focus on her tonight. You just get to be like, her pretty little arm thing right now. But Ashley, what is it like for you guys out there in the wilds of God's country?
It's actually really boring because a lot of the places that we would go, like the mall, everything's just shut down, but we don't have an official stay at home order in place. but it's effectively a stay-at-home because there's nowhere to go.
Right.
So it's just pretty boring. The most exciting thing that happened was we went to Hy-Vee today, and they now have aisle markers for which way you go through the aisles.
No way.
So you're not passing each other.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually, in my opinion, with reduced hours and then putting up confusing traffic lanes, which some people pay attention to and others don't, it actually just increased the confusion and people bumping into each other. It's just kind of pandemonium, and yeah, I'm tired of it.
Man, I've noticed that we went to the store this morning to get some groceries, and it was I'd heard, like, this is the first time that I've been to a grocery store myself in 2 months. And, what we've been doing up to this point is online order pickup, online order delivery, things like that. So Amazon, if you live where Amazon and Whole Foods are in cahoots together, that's fantastic because groceries just kind of show up on your porch. And my wife had been doing the curbside pickup thing for a while now. Went into the local Publix, and I'd heard all the horror stories. I'd heard that, you go in and it looks like, like the store is just now being set up, that the shelves are empty and there's a little bit of stuff here and there. And it really wasn't that way today. There's a lot of stuff there. I even somehow lucked into a bag of flour, which is like, I wouldn't have thought that you would have a flour shortage. I mean, flour is like, if you're not baking with it, middle schoolers carry it around with a diaper on it and they treat it like it's a baby, right? And in like a home ec class. And, so we're at the stage of our existence in the United States where that's not happening anymore. You want to, you couldn't even find it. So, it was interesting. A lot of folks in masks, a lot of folks in rubber gloves or nitrile, like surgical gloves. A lot of folks that weren't. I passed people in the aisle that, were pushing carts of groceries, and they had small kids in the cart with them. Nobody's wearing a mask. I thought, well, I think there's a way to sort it out. It's like, at least you got two. You're playing the odds, right? So.
Well, as someone that's worked in food service quite a bit, something that's a little perturbing to me is seeing the number of people with gloves on that use those gloves to do absolutely everything.
Sure.
Like, just wearing gloves or wearing a mask doesn't protect you or the people around you.
Well,
if you're just using those to contaminate everything rather than your bare hands.
Yeah. It's protecting themselves, maybe, but not.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you then go out and open your car with the gloves you've worn all over the store and handled your credit card and cash and all the produce that everyone else has picked up, all you've done is make yourself feel a little bit safer, more secure.
Or you're the lady that moves her hair out of her face and puts it behind her ear with her glove on.
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
Or the cashier that picks up the money off the floor that she dropped. You know what I mean? I'm seeing all these things. I'm like, this is not how any of this works, folks. Like,
I was in a gas station and had ordered a pizza, and the gal that came, I can't stand more than 6 feet away from the counter to tell them what the mobile order is. And the lady comes up, but then once I need to pay, she took my credit card in her gloved hand, swiped it, hands it back to me, drops a bag of flour on the floor, picks it up, and proceeds to open it and dump it in the mixer. And, it's like, there's only so much you can do. Like, I don't know. I don't really take any faith in the measures just because I'm aware of how many health codes are only in place for liability purposes and not actually observed.
You're absolutely bringing me down. Yeah.
Have another beer, David.
Yeah. So I see a guy down in the lower corner of my screen, Elliot. Elliot is, Elliot, you and I've known each other for a while, for a long while. So welcome. You looks like you are in the cab of your truck on the road. Is this true?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yes, I am. Which is why I'm not actually looking at anything.
Right.
You just have vision on me. For me, it's just a phone call.
Right.
But there you go.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I'm in New Mexico right now.
So Elliot is an over the road truck driver. So he is the guy bringing the flour to the Publix and to the gas station for the lady to drop it on the floor and freak Jordan out.
Actually, right now.
Oh no. you're in a part of New Mexico that has no cell signal.
I've got a load for like the spring mix salads and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm taken to Springfield, Ohio.
Oh, well. All right. Yeah, that is good. So, that's one of those, you think about the essential jobs, it's going to be the folks bringing the food to the grocery stores and everything else right now. It's definitely not, I don't feel essential, but they tell me I am. Let's see. We also have Mark, the other Mark. Man, there can only be one. This could be a Highlander moment, Mark. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
Can be only one.
There can only be one. So, Mark, welcome.
Yes,
Where are
sir.
you from, man?
Mount Juliet, so real far from you.
Yeah, you are very far away. Yeah.
Yes, so far.
I don't even. Well, I was gonna say I don't have to ask you how things are, but actually I know that's not true because some of my folks at work are in Wilson County, Mount Juliet, and they're talking about it's like the land of plenty. They go into the grocery store and there's everything. So that's fantastic, I guess.
You never can tell,
right?
We had to go to Target for something, and they've got like 3 aisles that should have paper goods, no paper goods, a few Kleenex. Like if you want the travel size Kleenex, you're golden. But if you want a regular size Kleenex or any other kind of paper product, nope. But yeah, and it's weird because in the last like week and a half, we've gone to Costco. And then, we went to Kroger's or Publix. My wife and my girls did, and I don't remember which one. And then Target. And those are kind of in the order of how serious people are taking it.
Right.
In Costco, we didn't have masks on and we were the weird ones. But then it was probably about, my wife said about 75% of the people in the supermarket here had masks on. And then Target, we had masks on and we were the weird ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's one of those, you're trying to keep social distancing and trying to, be wise about what you're doing. And there are people that, are right up against you and just not even a care in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And the fun thing is, I would have been on a little bit sooner, but most of my family's in California.
Oh,
I'm a refugee. And my mom decided yesterday she's in a retirement community that, cooks her food and she's got her own place. But she went out the back door with a friend and gallivanted all around, showed up my brother's house, who has my nephew and my sister-in-law both have immune deficiency issues. And she just showed up there like she was going to go walk in, and my brother's like, no,
yeah, that's not happening, right?
And so my brother calls me and some of my mom's friends, and we all call her and say, what are you doing? And now she's everybody's mad at her, and she's the poor person. And then just tonight here, she rolls her ankle, and it's about 3 to 4 times the size of her other ankle, and she's refusing to go to urgent care or the emergency room.
Sure,
she's going to go on Monday.
Right.
Yeah, and so thankfully, my brother has medical power and that sort of thing. So he's calling the ambulance, and the ambulance is going to come and get her rather than her friends. So
this is just not.
We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I was going to say this is just not a time that I would want to try to go to the hospital. I guess I kind of understand maybe where she's at, but man, that's rough.
There's the whole blood clot going up and causing a stroke, little things.
Right. Yeah, minor inconveniences like that.
And, yeah.
Golly. All right.
So other than that, boring.
Yeah. No, Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And the weird thing for me is I'm a letter carrier.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
I'm essential.
Yeah, right.
I have a official postmaster letter that says I'm essential.
Yeah.
And the mail is just weird because some days it's heavy. Lots of people are buying stuff online, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a Saturday every day because all my customers are home. And it's definitely in my neighborhood, there are people that are taking zero precautions, people that are taking what I think are sensible precautions.
Right.
And then people that, are Lysoling all the mail that I leave them.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that in particular.
I have somebody that has a home business, and normally I would go in and drop the mail on her desk, and she's like, "Could you just leave it out in the mailbox?"
Yeah. So
all right.
what is it like for you though? I mean, because you're handling things that have come from all over the country, and if not outside of, I mean, is that a little unsettling to be doing that, or not really worried about it?
I'm not that worried about it. They go through so many processes in the plant that I was wearing gloves, but I was starting to be like what you were talking about, that I was just wearing a set of gloves all day because, we only have we have gloves now, but we only have so many gloves.
Right.
And so I'm just, Pirelling every so often. So my hands are great that way.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that my job is the kind of the definition of social distancing. I'm unique because I have a walking route. I'm in the village of Old Hickory. So I actually go up to people's doors, but I'm not more than 6 feet from anybody any of the time. And so,
yeah. Well,
but apparently there was somebody in Gallatin that came down with it. So now they're being a little more serious with it.
Yeah. Well, I almost commented earlier and I hesitated to, because, we're talking about assisted living centers and things like that. And here, of course, in Middle Tennessee, it's made the news. We've had one particular nursing home that has had more than 100 cases, of this outbreak inside of their facility. And it's terrible. It really is just terrible. So it can definitely be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. No, thanks. I'm really glad that you joined us. Zach, I kind of saved you to last because California, right? First of all, why in the world haven't you moved? But I got so many questions. California, but let's just go with the obvious one. What are you dealing with right now with the corona outbreak?
All right. Well, so I'm considered an essential employee. I'm working in construction field. And this particular job at University of California, San Diego, is still being built. And we went from over 1,000 people on this job site to way less than 150. I mean, it's a big job site. People are pretty spread out. They've taken every precaution possible, but still, everyone's just on edge as far as that goes. And as far as why I haven't moved, I
just assume that everybody can leave California. I know that's not true. I know it's not.
No.
So,
it's just weighing out prospects on because I don't like the heat and my wife doesn't like the cold. So finding that middle ground there.
Yeah.
So.
Nah. Well, so like in public, how different is it for you guys right now when you go out in public? How heavy-handed is the government being as far as enforcing social distancing and all that other fun stuff?
Pretty different. I don't know if it's totally different compared to any other state, because I did get a letter from my employer saying I'm essential in case I'm pulled over, but I haven't experienced that yet. And I haven't experienced, nobody's, other than a few people kind of just doing general like health running around the neighborhood or something. I don't really see too many people out. And then you get to the grocery stores where from everyone else's feedback, it sounds very similar. It's shortages on a lot of things. Toilet paper, I was able to acquire that today actually at Walmart, and my wife's described it like Black Friday but less organized. And I was lucky enough to get a 2-pound bag of rice and a couple other things. Toilet paper is very scarce. We just kind of we're not trying to hoard it. We're just trying to kind of get what we can, which is like 4 rolls at a time.
Sure.
And I weirdly enough, tons of Kleenex I've seen on the shelves.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's all about. So let me know if you guys need some. Send it to you. And you know, there's just a weird tension. I think that it just happens when you have a lot of people living kind of next to each other. There's just kind of this tension, and especially in like San Diego, it's a lot different compared to any other place in California. You get a lot of former military, a lot of people who take, you know, I don't know, it's just kind of, I've always gotten this, I used to have people like friends and bosses who were just always very prepared for anything, you know, I guess they were looking for a civil war more so than this, and, you know, zombies or whatever. And now they have a virus where you have to stay at home.
Yeah.
It kind of took everyone by surprise, but you know, we're getting along just fine as far as anything going around, like the 2A community goes. That's atrocious, and you're right. I need to get the heck out as soon as possible.
I mean, I would love to see some of you guys stay and fight it and turn the state around. I just don't know that that's I didn't
totally.
know yeah, you know, is it even plausible?
There was a ninth court circuit. Just heard something about our magazine capacity, and so hopefully we'll be hearing something regarding that, because what we had here was what was called Freedom Week. I'm sure some of you guys have heard about that. I do
remember that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a glorious time. My hated me, and it's fine. But yeah, you know, it's totally prepared for any. You know, I don't have a shortage on 9mm ammo.
That's good.
But you know, all the toilet paper, I'd stocked up on water for earthquakes or fires and all this other stuff. But you know, just simple things that just slip through your mind, and kind of goes to show you can never be like completely prepared.
Right. Yeah.
There's always something that just slips through the cracks, you know, and you do the best you can.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Jack, can I pop in with a question for Jack here real quick?
Yeah.
I actually just came out of California, out of NorCal. Well, actually more like Central California with this load. But is San Diego County under a facial covering directive?
For essential employees, yes. While I'm at work, I need to keep it covered. But while I'm out and about, like when I went shopping today, I would say when I was at Target, I was probably the only person not wearing a face mask, just because I kind of exhausted all of them, and I got to wait till Monday to get more. So I wouldn't say it's mandated by police or anything.
Okay, I was curious because I know San Bernardino and Riverside counties, and there's a couple others that are under what directives were issued to us through our company that came from the government organizations there, that they're under face covering directive, where if you're out, if any of the drivers of the truckers out of their truck, they have to have face covering, otherwise they're subject to fines.
Oh,
like
wow.
you have to, and they don't care whether it's a bandana, face mask, whatever. You have to be covered, or you will, you know, you're subject to sanctions.
So there's a lot of misinformation going on down here. I haven't. When our local sheriff went on some local radio show, kind of clearing things up, there was nothing about having to wear a mask in public. It's just highly encouraged right now. There have been fines being placed on people who were like sitting in their car at the beach watching a sunset, you know, and other things like that. And so, but nothing about you have to wear them in public just yet. I'm sure that's coming, because it seems like it's just become a snowball of just craziness. And I mean, all you gotta do is just wash your hands and not touch your face. It's really, I mean,
yeah. But not sneeze on anybody, not get coughed on, things like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Be a basic, decent human being, not cough on someone. And you know, when this is all over, I hope people can still continue to wash their hands and like cover their mouth when they cough. And,
right. I would love to see the handshake die. And I know that sounds kind of terrible because, Mark, you and I talked about this in the last episode. Handshakes were kind of a thing of, men shook hands with each other. It was a thing that you did. And, I remember being taught, by my dad, my grandfather, if, when another man comes up and says hello to you, you stand up, you get out of your chair, you shake his hand, look him in the eye,
in the eye. Yeah.
Right. And I get it, but at the same time, I have no idea where, his hands have been and what he did, right before he came in, the meeting room with me or whatever. So, I've got a 2-year-old. I know where he puts his hands all day, every day. And I'm pretty sure some adults aren't too different from that. So, it's, I want the handshake to die quickly. Fist bump, elbow
I'm
bump.
over here teaching my 2-year-old how to shake hands already.
Right. I get it, but, I don't know. I'd be okay with the handshake dying a quick death. Mark, so in the last week, how about you? Have you been out any more than you had been before?
I've not left.
Since
we were last on the air, I've not left.
Right.
I think my wife left once. No, that was before too. We haven't left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not much to report. You know what I mean? I haven't been out to see anything. All I can tell is that the buzz, at least regionally for me, seems to have like plateaued a little bit.
Yeah.
From like on social media with my, local community pages and local friends and stuff like that. Like there was lots of chatter and buzz and all of it's really faded. And I'm not like I don't watch the news because I think most of it's bullshit anyway. But I don't know. I kind of just feel like I got a little bit of a lull in what's been happening. I don't know if that's because it actually is a lull or if that's just what I'm feeling within my reach of people and not being out in the town.
Right. Yeah. So I'm thinking about the past week for me. Work from home every day, all day. And that's been okay. Friday, I actually took off work and I didn't think that I needed it until mid-morning on Thursday when I realized I'm just tired, smoked. Mentally, I'm tired. And I couldn't tell you why. It's not like the work had been any more challenging or difficult. The guys I work with they're amazing. I mean, they are like seriously some of the smartest people I know. And, they're very dedicated and they're just plowing through it. And occasionally one or two of them would, hey, I need to take a sanity day. And I'm like, okay, take a sanity day. It's fine. And then, around midday on Thursday, I was like, a sanity day sounds really damn good right now. And, it was good to not get up and be sucked into the focus on all the bad stuff that was going on. And I kind of needed that. Right. But, to your point, I feel like some of the noise and the hubbub is dying down a little bit, here in the area, but, I worry about that too, because I kind of worry that maybe it's just become the new normal, and now people are getting restless and they're going to start rushing back out into public and doing things that would prolong this. This almost feels like everybody's got cabin fever, which is why we're doing these hangouts. But I'm worried that folks are really going to start acting on that cabin fever, and the next thing we've got mass groups of people. Close proximity to each other with no masks, no gloves, no anything. And then suddenly we have another outbreak, another spike or whatever. So I don't know. I kind of quit watching the news. I get enough news from the people I'm around, the people I work with and everything else are like, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? And that's probably not the best way to get your news, right? Because you're getting what's sensational. It caught their attention. So now it's catching my attention. I don't know. I look outside my window during the day and I see people walking around in my neighborhood, which is good. And people still aren't congregating on the street talking to each other. They're kind of, they make sure that they're passing on each opposite side of the street. But went out in public today, did a little bit of shopping, saw a weird mixture of people with gloves, with masks, without, with some combination of the above. I saw a guy, man, and I swear, I saw this in a meme, and I thought, you can't be that. People aren't really that dense, are they? And then I saw it today. A guy at the grocery store was in the self checkout lane, and he was digging his credit card out of his wallet, and so he was having a hard time with his gloves. And I'm talking like he was wearing like mechanics gloves. I'm talking about like the mechanics brand gloves, not like. And he puts the finger in his mouth and pulls the glove off, and he's holding the glove in his mouth while he gets his credit card out. And I thought, you're why we're all going to die, right? I mean, people like you are not thinking about what you just did. And like there were probably 8 of us in like around him, and everybody's looking at him like we're looking at each other like, do we see what's really going on here? And he was oblivious, man. He had no clue. He got done with what he was doing, put his card back in his wallet, tugged his glove back on, and on his merry way. Oh, well,
natural selection.
Yeah, natural selection at work. So it was funny. I was like, man, whatever. It's just it's weird. I remember years past, when SARS was the thing in China, and we kind of like the derogatory term for an N95 mask was the SARS mask, for like years after that. Like if you're mowing the yard, you're doing anything in the garage, you're gonna make a lot of dust. Yeah, give me my SARS mask. You put it on. And it's because that was on the other side of the world. And that was like people over in China, go through their daily life with a mask on because of pollution or whatever else. We don't do that in the United States, yet here we are. And, we definitely do that in the United States now, it seems like. So, we just live in interesting times. I don't know what the new normal is going to really look like.
Can I just say that it is so much of a norm over there that masks can become part of their like fashion trends. It's part of like Chinese fashion shows that they'll wear masks.
Yeah.
And there is a chance that could kind of roll over here.
Right.
And I mean, just we're a globalized, society nowadays. Sure. Everything's being shared, including germs. So I mean, who knows what the future holds.
No, I think you're right. It could. 2 months ago, I wouldn't have thought of walking into a bank with a mask on my face and gloves on, right? I mean, that was an invitation for bad things to happen. But, it just kind of is what it is. Tony, Dean, that is, first of all, that's just really bizarre. Second of all, the green screen that was going on, like the Invisible Man. So, yeah, that was pretty wild. So switching gears a little bit. Training, right? Let's talk about guns. We do this podcast every once in a while, and it's called Shooters Nation. We talk about guns and training and stuff like that. We did that before we talked about viruses, which I don't know, it's kind of boring now. How many of you guys are still going to the range on a regular basis? Anybody? Is it like show of hands? Has anybody been to the range in the past week? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
yeah, I was. I can say I have been. I don't know, but tomorrow's Easter. I may not be able to make it. I was there last weekend.
Okay.
It's considered a private range, but because you have to have a membership. But it's pretty good size. I just went to one of the bays. They have like 12 bays. But when I got there, of course, I think it was Saturday. There was literally 2 other cars. I mean, we're talking, you go on a normal Saturday and sometimes you have to like sit there and wait for somebody to be done at one of these 12 bays to use it. They also have a main range, which is like dedicated rifle range.
Yeah.
And they don't have bays there. It's just rows of benches, so to speak. I didn't go up there, but it looked like there were like 1 or 2 cars there also. So, probably 2 guys, and one was way down at one end and one was the other end, but it was just literally dead. In fact, on my Facebook page, I posted a picture of it because it was dead. I can't even say, I don't know if people don't want to use the ammo they have,
right,
which I can understand, or I don't think they're really scared about catching something at the range because it's it's sparse. If you have a bay, it's you and yourself.
Yeah, you're probably more likely to get lead poisoning.
Probably shooting steel targets. But so my experience isn't like a public range or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I went out there because I had, of course, because of the podcast, I do reviews and stuff. And so I needed to test some stuff out some more. And I figured it might be dead, which it was, which was really nice.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So, Jordan, Ashley, I'm so sorry.
I apologize for him.
You know, I feel like
I heard about his shenanigans the morning after last week's.
Oh, okay.
And I apologize. And I wish there was something I could do legally.
I mean, that is a very seductive picture of Bill Clinton.
I think this is just Ashley looking for an excuse to take half of my guns.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Half of the ones she knows about.
Might be. I mean, I think it's amazing though that your green screen technology is you keep disappearing, and occasionally it's just your head superimposed on Bill Clinton's tube. So, yeah, that is really bizarre. Yeah.
So I actually was going to ask Mark a question earlier when he was talking about work. Mark, has this? I saw one retailer or gun shop down in Texas today news that they were closing their FFL, and I was just wondering how that's affected your business. Have you seen any of your customers shut down, close their accounts, put business on hold?
Yeah, there's been very few so far. There's been a lot of threatening. There's been a lot of talk of it, like we're doing this, and then people start throwing the law in their face, saying, no, you're not shutting us down, and we're going to continue to stay open, and they do nothing about it.
Sure.
There was a lot of chatter immediately, and then it really, I mean, out of 176, 178 accounts that I have, I think currently there's 2 closed. And I think one of the 2 is they're doing it to do their part rather than being told to.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
So
I'm just kind of curious to see what this means for the industry as a whole in terms of the local gun stores.
They are all doing very, very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see how the distribution change. Yeah, I don't know what this looks like in the future, because it seems like we'll probably see sustained buying, just like we did with rimfire ammo for 5 years. We'll probably have continued, like when you brought up training or getting out to the range. I think actually, didn't your folks ask that this evening? We've been out shooting recently, and it was like, well, honestly, not really, because I don't have tons of ammo that I want to burn through right now.
Right.
I've got stuff set up and zeroed, and I'm pretty comfortable with it. And other than 9mm through handguns and rimfire ammo, I don't really want to dump too much of my 5.56 or 300 blackout. I have lots of friends that are asking me all the time if I can help them with deals and finding stuff, and I try to, grab stuff and send it their way. And usually by the time they can even confirm, it's like, hey, I'll buy this for you.
Yeah.
If you can't get an account set up or get your info in soon enough, but by the time they confirm that they want it, it's out of stock.
Oh yeah, it's too late. I was gonna say, so you're doing it probably the right way. You're buying it outright and then just letting them, reimburse you, I guess. Because if you wait, by the time somebody texts me and says, hey, there's this ammo in stock at this place, and it's at pre-panic prices, it's gone. I mean, if it's not like, sometime between midnight and 5 a.m., I can count on it being gone by the time I see it. Right. So
once Mr. Guns and Gear or a similar influencer, if you will, posts the deal up, it's usually, I mean, if you see it posted 5-10 minutes ago, it's gone already. There's no point in clicking on the link.
So I was going to ask that question of everybody. So we'll get there in just a second, but training, anybody, going to the range on a regular basis. So Chad, you said that you were. Mark, you raised your hand that you've been going. Mark, your range, it's outdoor. It's an outdoor range, right? So
yeah, outdoor range, 168 members, mostly dudes that go sight in their deer rifle once a year and their muzzleloader once a year.
Yeah.
So we don't get a lot of people there. The good news is, I mean, I say I haven't left the ranges. Well, I could see it from here if there wasn't trees in the way type of close, you know, it's less, it's a quarter mile by road. And if I went through the woods, I could probably be there quicker. So it's really close, but what is unique is that it's a quiet range. It's not used much, but in the last 3 weeks, there's been gunfire there every day.
No kidding.
Absolute increase of use.
So is it an uptick in new members, or is this a?
So yeah, I was just about to get there too. So we were getting inundated with emails saying, "Hey, we want to join, but we can only join in a meeting." And you say you're not doing meetings,
right?
Because the process is you come to a meeting with your application. We review the application and vote on you being a member of the club. Then
okay.
And so another thing I've been doing with all my free time is redesigning the website for the club so that you can go on, you buy a membership, download an application, and then one of our officers of the club will schedule a time to meet with you, give you kind of to check a pulse and see what your knowledge is like, because we don't want just like first time gun owners with a new Taurus and a Taurus 9mm and 380 ammo coming to the range to shoot their new gun that they just got to see what it's going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're kind of giving them like a 10 question questionnaire that I came up with. You know, just some basic stuff like out of the 4 ammunitions below, one of them is a rimfire cartridge. Which one is it? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff
so
that a standard gun person's going to know, but you don't need to be a gun nut to know it.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is just a kind of a feeler gauge, you know, and if they don't pass that 10 question, then we're offering them a 1 hour free tutorial, like a handgun 101, rifle 101, whatever they want, gun safety 101, more like it should be. And that way we're not trying to turn them away. We want them to join. We want them to have a safe place to shoot, but we also need to be careful of who we're letting use the club.
Well, for the safety of everybody else, right? So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so does your range have range safety officers on site all the time?
No,
or okay,
no,
yeah, so
absolutely not.
Even more important to have people that are familiar and competent.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
so but yeah, I mean 10 12 members joined in a matter of like 48 hours of putting the new website up online, which is significant for us. You know, we haven't grown 10 members in 2 days in years, you know what I mean? It's
well, you kind of hope these people are going to stay involved too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's good. I mean, it's definitely a sign. It tells me something that the range is always in use, and we have people, you know, calling us and emailing us and Facebooking us trying to get in. I think it's a good thing, and we're just trying to do all that we can to make sure that they can do it in a safe manner and do it quickly, because we understand the need.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So Ashley, have you thrown Jordan out of the house, locked the door, and told him not to come back for a couple of hours, and just really didn't care where he was going to go yet? Or is that
no, because we only have one car right now.
Well,
so
I mean, he can walk.
If I kicked him out, he would get in the car and leave. So then I'd be the one stuck.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really work.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Jordan. All right. Yeah. So what is going on here? I see what we've done. My screen has shifted around. We've lost one. That's fine. Chad, you said that you've been out shooting for the, you know, to do podcast stuff. What about Mark? How about you over there in Mount Juliet? What you know, what's it like for you? Have you got ammo and you're sitting on it, conserving it, or are you actually gonna, you know, have you been out to the range lately to knock the rust off?
I have not. I've got enough that I could, but just with working, I don't have the extra time, and because the tornadoes hit, my kids have been off since the tornado. For once, our county is ahead of the game as far as reactions to something,
right?
But they're so I haven't felt that would be wise for my continued happy marriage.
Sure.
For me to go out for a couple hours and because
unless you're taking
one of the three parties may kill each other.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got to take the kids with you or just not go at all. Yeah. You know, I tell you what's funny about that, Mark, is the week after the tornadoes hit, we had folks coming in to my company to work with my team in a closed conference room all week long. And one of the gentlemen was from Israel, and the other, the others were all from around, just the United States here. And as they were coming in, I was thinking to myself, man, like, we're going to be stuck in a room breathing the same air. Like, we're going to be breathing each other's exhaled breaths for the next week. This is not, I'm not really cool with this idea. And we
don't know why not.
Yeah. And I mean, we were sitting there watching, this explode overseas at the time, and it hadn't really made it into the United States, quote unquote, as they, or so they thought. So yeah, it was kind of unsettling, but that was the week after the tornado. And then, 2 weeks later, well, not even that. I think about a week later, it was when we were all sent home and said, hey, go work from home. Don't come back in here until we tell you to come back. So, yeah, I mean, you're in the part of the country, you're in the part of the state, at least that, you guys had the double whammy of tornado. And then of course
it's been weird for some of our friends, it's the thing where, we had friends that, we had a little roof damage. And then you talk to them a little further and, there was a 2x4 that came through our ceiling as well.
Right.
That's a little bit more than just roof damage.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, if, there's one here in Mount Juliet that I tried to patronize, and it just kind of skeeves me out.
Right.
So if I go, I either have to go to Royal Range or On Target.
Yeah.
Which is over in Murfreesboro.
Right.
I keep thinking that I need to check out the place that you belong to. Because that's not much farther than either of them, and it'd be nice to kind of to be outdoors.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think. So near you, I've got a couple places in mind, but I think I don't know. You've got.
I've never actually been to the Nashville Armory.
Yeah. I mean, it's close to you. It's very nice. It's very upscale. We've jokingly called it the Gun Tree Club several times. In my circle of local friends, they're definitely geared up towards a certain clientele, right? I mean, right. So,
very near Brentwood.
Yeah, they are. And, I was kind of going through my head what your shooting options were over there. And, you've got to drive really, if you want to go to anything. So yeah. Well,
I have to find that friend that has some land out, not far from me that actually will go and shoot with me, or I can actually go shoot.
Right.
I've had offers.
Yeah.
But they've never panned out.
Yeah. No, I'm out where I should be able to do that. And like an idiot, we bought land in a small neighborhood. So that we didn't think that went through at all. Yeah. So Zach, how about you, man? Like when you're, what is it like as a gun owner in California anyway, to go find a place to shoot? I mean, you have to get permission from the governor before you can go do that, or no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, usually a little grease the palms, I guess. No, right. Normally, I'm lucky enough. I live, about 5 minutes away from an indoor gun range.
Okay.
That actually, right when everything was kind of starting to hit the fan, I just figured I'd pick up some more hollow points along with everybody else, apparently. And when I went, I was standing in line for about 45 minutes with a bunch of people who were getting first-time gun owners, and just either picking up or they're putting in their order. But I mean, right now, you can't even buy ammo. Holds on firearms just because the DOJ was so inundated with all kinds of orders. I mean, as Mark knows, this was a crazy time for purchasing, and these people who were anti, gun, all of a sudden flip the switch. You're like, oh, hey, guess what? there's a lot of things going on. The police might take a lot longer than normal
Maybe
to
I
get
should
to
have
us.
a gun. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so yeah, the gun ranges have been all shut down. I got a couple buddies who have private land out east towards Freedom, aka Arizona.
Okay.
And so if
actual Freedom, California, Arizona Freedom.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I always describe so I'm from East County of San Diego. So it's San Diego East, which is pretty much Arizona West culturally.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah. So everyone's pretty much like-minded and stuff. You don't really get, I mean, it's a complete different culture than LA.
Well, it helps having a large military presence nearby. So I would imagine. Right. So,
yeah. And yeah. So, definitely, I mean, I think this particular part of California voted red. So, I mean, that should say everything you need to know. But, it's been, you're just kind of waiting it out. Luckily, I still have some ammo and, not everything I own was lost in a boating accident, but,
so many tragic boating accidents. Gun owners are terrible boats.
Zach,
yeah.
I wanted to ask, I left California before the whole ammo permission slips happened. Is that a big of a pain? Because my family there that shoots, they're law enforcement, so it doesn't really affect them. But just for you, I think it's a background check for the ammo. Is that as big of a deal as it seems?
So last time I bought ammo, just because I had always, every time I go to Walmart, I would just pick up some ammo. So I had all of a sudden I just had a lot of ammo. So, I mean, I really wasn't worried about it. And the most recent ammo purchase since then actually came along when I picked up my most recent firearm, which was unfortunately, it's an on-roster gun, which, I mean, God, every time you guys talk about all the stuff you guys have on your show, I just get very envious. And
yeah, we're fortunate.
It's kind of good. It is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's kind of good. It's a whole lot of good.
As Jordan flags his bride. Yeah, that's God.
Well, so I was able to get that was the last time I picked up ammo. I got some buddies who press. I don't know. I mean, those buddies are from Arizona, so I don't know with the legality of here. But if I needed some, I'm sure the boating accident might happen again. No, I ended up with something more. But I don't know.
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I can't even imagine going through what you guys go through to just buy ammo. I mean, that is, it's hard enough to find it lately, let alone to go through, petitioning. Essentially petitioning the state government to say, hey, can I buy this box today?
Yeah, it's all kinds of ridiculous. I mean, as we all know, pretty much every restriction on firearms seems to be not helping anybody but criminals. And so, I mean, I have a lot of friends and family who think gun control is a good thing until all this happened, and they're like, hey, what can I do to, get my hands on a firearm? I'm like, right now, nothing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys actually, you guys did your Polymer 80 show. I've been listening to you guys since episode 13.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people wave them in my face.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Good. And I went that route for a minute until some laws in here changed, and then those magically disappeared as well on that boating accident. But I listen to you guys a lot for just kind of just being able to get a taste of freedom and just different advice and just what other people are able to experience in free states. So I appreciate everything you guys do and keep up the good work.
No,
so thank you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark, we need to do
Got a little
it.
question.
We did. Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, I was going to say, Jack, have you, because I actually lived in Ocean Beach for a little while back in the early 2000s. But for all the family and friends and whatnot, that the folks that you knew that were formerly thinking, hey, all these gun restrictions were great ideas, is there a little bit of a perverse joy to see them hoisted by their own petard at this moment?
As much as I want, yes. But at the same time, I know right now that if we want to see real change, we have to accept them with open arms and say, hey, not only, welcome to the right side of history, and show them what's up, and
it's absolutely an opportunity, but you have the glee maybe a little bit in the background, like, see, I told you, but you don't, show it to them. You go, hey, see, this was bad. Let's go ahead and let's change this so you don't run into this next time. But I figured there's probably a little bit of like, haha, told you.
Yes, no. So for every person I know that I'm chuckling about, haha, told you, every other one of my friends is rocking their boogaloo blouse just about now, and just waiting. But it's a very interesting culture we have here of, you get those people who are true blood Californians of the kind of hippy dippy side, and then you get, real Americans, and it's interesting here.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say I've actually spent a lot of time in other parts of California, and something I long have told folks is that if you want to find the redneckiest of rednecks, go up to Northern California, outside, get away from San Francisco, but get into state of Jefferson. Get into state of Jefferson area.
Yeah.
My in-laws own land just it's 70 miles east of Redding.
Oh, there you go.
Their neighbors think that, they're outside of Bernie, and Bernie is bad, and Redding is the hell spawn. So wow. They're very Jefferson-y.
I guess
the part of San Diego I grew up in. We were known for a rodeo in town, and so I grew up with horses and cowboy hats, and so it's not what everyone thinks it is when you think California of surfing and coast. And anyway, I live 20 minutes away from a beach. That's not really what I grew up in. And maybe this is the most, I've gone surfing once just to say I did it, and I hated it, and I'll never do it again. And I'm not a beach guy. I'm very much a go to the mountains, camp, get away from everything, clear my head, fresh air.
So one thing I want to point out, just so I can be the guy. Elliot's in a truck. I'm sure it's noisy. It's actually Zach with a Z, like Zed, Zach. So
my apologies.
Yeah, no, that's all right, man. So no, but you actually got me thinking when you kept calling him Jack, and then kind of like serendipitously, Zach started talking about the way things are in California and stuff. The image that I think most of us have now outside of California because of politics only is actually kind of unfortunate, because when you went back to I'm a kid of the 70s and the 80s, right? So you go back then and you think about the movie stars that you had. You had Steve McQueen, you had Jack Nicholson, you had Gene Hackman and Robert Redford, and on and on and on. And these were these were manly men, and the movies were often in California. One of the best movies ever, period, is Bullet. If watching the car chase through San Francisco doesn't just get your blood flowing, there's probably something wrong with you. And I grew up watching so many of the TV shows I watched, the sitcoms, not sitcoms, but the serials of the 70s and the 80s,
Streets of San Francisco.
Yeah. It was, right. It was, even cheesy stuff like, the A-Team and Knight Rider and stuff like that. I mean, and these were having in California and, chips. So, California was glamorized and you had manly men, that were tanned and ripped and they were.
I'm going to be cutting this part up for later, Dave.
Yeah, man. I mean, but I'm saying, right? So, I mean, it was celebrated, right?
Don't forget Rock Hudson.
They were, right. I mean, Rock Hudson, man, he would just pound it, right? Just for you.
Wait, that was
just for you, Jordan. So, I mean, it was, but we celebrated like America, out of California, and then it kind of like went south. So,
I mean, we still have a bunch of that. We still have, I mean, California, I mean, I don't want to be speaking out of turn, but it just has a little bit of everything from America. I mean, you get parts of the northern counties like Sonoma and Eureka, Sacramento, everything north of Sacramento, which is just, farmers and people who, I mean, I'm speaking out of turn because I've grown up in San Diego. I haven't really been to many other places. I've driven through places, but it's you kind of get a lot. I mean, out here in San Diego, we go east and we get deserts, we get Ocotillo wells, I mean, I grew up with friends who wanted to go ride dirt bikes and shoot guns out in the desert, and that's what we did for fun. Yeah. And being 16-year-olds with brand new license and access to firearms and blowing up used propane tanks out in the desert, that was glorious.
Yeah. Well, I can't help but think, and I'm really, I've resisted the urge to get political about coronavirus in 2 episodes now, or 3, if you since I broke the last one up into 2 pieces. But, I see a bit of a parallel there, right? Because the fact that you had a lot of what led California to where it is now, I think people passed, almost like they felt like this is logical, it's necessary. We're kind of like reining in some behavior that could be hazardous to the community good, et cetera. And I see that now with the coronavirus pandemic, where people are kind of like, hey, this makes sense, we should restrict these things. I was like 2 weeks ago, I was like, hey, look, I get that we need to ask people to stay at home, and we need to shut down certain businesses that you can't possibly do these businesses without being in close proximity to each other. And, I'll go on record, I was a little bit wrong about that, because as I thought about it, it's like, well, if I were in that position, if that was my income, I wouldn't feel super hot about the government telling me I couldn't go make a living anymore. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So I think that we can kind of look at California, unfortunately, and see that plays out exactly that way. You start kind of stacking on more good intentions and more good intentions. The next thing you know, you can't buy a box of ammo without a background check. So it's I would just, I'll get off my soapbox here in a second, but I really want people to think about that. If they're listening to this episode, I want them to think about that, especially as their elected representatives are ratcheting down on more and more things because of coronavirus, and we're doing it for the good of the people. We're trying to do it for all the right reasons, et cetera. But every time you chip away more and more at freedoms, it's hard to get them back. So anyway, just my thought.
They don't.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say that they don't come back.
No, well, they
don't.
I mean, if they do, it takes a hell of a lot of effort. I mean, it's harder to get them back than it was to give them away. It's a heck of a lot harder to get them back. So dry fire. Is anybody doing more dry fire training right now because you're not burning up ammo? Because you're stuck in the house all day long?
Well, I'm not stuck in the house all day long because unfortunately a lot of people you have on are classified as essential workers.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But of course
works.
Yeah, but of course I do have the Manus X.
Yeah.
Which I actually finally finished up a review on it. And so I was doing a lot of dry firing before that.
Right.
And if you've used it, you understand that it's actually kind of fun.
It is fun. Especially the competitive part, competing against strangers or friends or whatever. It is a lot of fun.
Right. And it does help. I mean, it really does. This one, because it has a draw analysis.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of cool because even though my draw seems to be consistent no matter what I do.
Right.
But they have like a hostage drill with it. And it, the buzzer beeps. You're supposed to draw and fire at some imaginary target. I actually have a Post-it note taped up over there.
Right.
But I suck at it. And you have to get like an 85 or better a couple times to pass or something. And it doesn't really take the draw stroke into account. It more so takes the rest of the shooting part into account.
So I guess it's counting. It starts the timer, of course, when it beeps, but it's also, it starts measuring you from the moment that it sees movement, like you're coming out of the holster with it, right?
Yes,
so,
and it records that. And then, you have to be holding steady enough to, even though you might know that the pistol I usually use it on has a dot. So, I know if I hit the target or not, but according to the drill, I suck at it. And it's like, hey, it's something to get better at.
Sure, right. Yeah, it sets the bar pretty high. Mark, have you bought one of those yet? I've got one. It's fun. So
I haven't. And man, I feel like I've had it in my cart like 10 times. And for some reason or another, I just haven't done it. And, I also was thinking about, we make light bearing holsters, like make a Mantis bearing holster that you can get to match your
carry gun.
Your carry gun, same location, same place, same.
Can I recommend something if you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the size of it, it's pretty small. You could maybe make an adapter that fit in their light bearing holster.
Yeah, maybe.
But I know most holsters clamp on the light, correct?
Right. So we achieve retention from the light. So yeah, I mean, that's the challenge is you'd want to have the retention similar to the light as to the Mantis.
You make a shell that clamps onto the Mantis that like fills out the rest of the light. I don't know. I mean,
something.
We're like coming up with, we're like rocket surgery here right now. This is
like a good 3D printing project.
Right.
But you need a Mantis first.
Yeah.
I do need a Mantis first.
Yeah. No, I've had fun with mine. I as a matter of fact, I thought about getting it out the other day and trying it. And I will echo your experience with that because Chad, I think that like when I'm dry firing and I'm just using the dot and, I'm pretty honest with myself about whether or not I pulled the shot or not. And sometimes the Mantis and I get in an argument, right? Because I'm like, there's no way I did it as badly as you said I did, Mantis. And I'm arguing with a thing that is actually measuring at a far higher, rate of perfection than I am.
It's kind of like disagreeing with a GPS, right?
Right, it is. It's like, damn it, I know that this road goes here, but it really doesn't. I don't know. I've been sitting here like, all day today, just make sure it's clear. That's what the sound is. I got my 320 X carry or X compact here. And, this has been a fun one to play around with today. And, I know that when I break the trigger on this, if I'm not applying the right amount of pressure on the front strap and the back strap, that it's going to, as the trigger drops, I can watch that dot drop about an 1/8 of an inch at say 20 feet. And, I'm sure it's going to do the exact same thing on a target, but, my local range definitely open for business. We talked about this before, went over there and everything was good and dandy until somebody that was there, decided to come over and, pick up my gun and start playing with it and stuff. It was clear. It was during cold, section of the range, but, we're sitting here. I'm not shooting with gloves on. He's not shooting with gloves on. We're in the middle of a pandemic and he walks over and is like, hey, is this the new, RX, grabs my 320 and starts playing with it. And I was like, oh, dude, now now my family's going to die because he just gave us the bubonic plague. And I told the guys like, hey, I don't mean to be a jerk, but I got young kids at home and I really can't be taking any germs home to them or, and the poor guy, he lays it down on the table real quick. And he starts brushing it off with his hands. Like that's going to help. Right. He's like sweeping away the germs, and I'm just like, dude, my heart hurts for you because that is so dumb. All right. But I thought, well, whatever, man, here we are. So I'm going to keep shooting. And, I just Purelled the hell out of my hands when I got back to the truck. But dry fire, I'm doing a lot more of it, a heck of a lot more of it. I mean, Mark, though, you guys in the shop, I mean, I've seen you've got you got your dummy. What was his name? Bob. It's not Bob. What is it? It's Fred. Fred from I Am Legend.
I Am Legend, too.
Yeah. So
funny story. We actually sold Fred.
What?
Yeah,
How
Fred's
do you
no longer
get rid of a valuable member of the shop like that?
He's no longer here.
Well, this is sad.
Well, I mean, he had a job.
Uses Corey for dry fire practice.
Right, I was gonna say, yeah.
He had a job and he never worked, so he was just collecting dust. So we had a customer in here, and he's like, "Man, he handcrafted a Batmobile, right?" And he's like, "When I bring this thing to shows, I've always wanted a mannequin that I was going to dress up like Batman." I was like, "Man, I'll sell you a mannequin." Classic Mark, I'll sell anything, right? You know, so sold him Fred. And Fred's gone 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I'm sad. That is, I don't even know.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I'm sitting in the shop. I've got 1, 2, 3, get like 4 targets on the walls.
Yeah.
We're constantly pointing at targets. So, and we've got targets that are real life looking, look like people, our people, photographs of people,
right.
We got one of a chick in a liquor store pointing at what looks like a Glock 21 holding a bottle of Smirnoff, pointing at you, you know what I mean? Just like real life looking photos, not like bullseye targets.
Is that real life anywhere? Yeah.
Now, where'd you get the picture of my ex-girlfriend?
Right. The funny thing is, so this came from letargets.com, and apparently she's one of the sales reps.
No way. Yeah, I've been buying from LE Targets forever. That's funny. Yeah. Action Targets now, I guess, actiontargets.com. But yeah, LE Targets still gets you there. Yeah. Anybody else doing more dry fire? Anybody? Am I the only one that sits on conference calls all day long and just sits here and over and over and over?
I mean, I'm not doing more than I used to, but I do a lot because of, it's kind of hard to get to a range out here.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I know how those bullet holes get in all the highway signs, Elliot. It's okay. You can confess.
I can neither confirm nor deny anything of which you may be speaking about.
So Chris, what about you, man? You're part of Georgia. Are ranges close by and accessible, or are they is that an intentional journey if you find yourself at a range?
Well, being that I work with U.S. Law Shield, when we're full bore, we're in ranges all the time. So, there's a handful that are closed, and there's a couple, 3 that are still open, and they fill every other bay, or whatever they decide to do. I will say the ones that are open aren't very crowded. It's just people aren't doing anything, and now that the melee of buying guns is over, there's really not people in the range, in the gun stores, period.
Yeah.
Almost everything's gone. And the way I look at it, either the people that wanted a gun have gone and bought it, and the people like us who have plenty of guns don't want to go anywhere near it anyway. And then you got the other group of people that figure, well, everything's gone, so there's nothing to go buy anyway.
Yeah, so I was wondering about that, and I guess Mark, we've talked about this. That
I can definitely shed some light on that whole hurting, situation.
Right? So yeah.
Well, no, the supply chain's not hurting. That's not the problem at all. The supply chain is still in very good shape. What's hurting is the panic, and let's just say a wholesale distributor like ours, who handles a very big percentage of the market share of the guns that are in your store. We are normally shipping from when I put an order in a ship status in about 25 to 30 minutes. We're a fully robotic warehouse. We move product and put stuff in boxes quickly, period. We normally run 2 shifts. Right now we're running 3. We've run in over 100 temps, and we're booking out at least 12 days on shipping. That's how many orders are in the queue.
Yeah.
The problem isn't that the gun shops can't get the material. The problem is we are so far behind on the distribution level, we cannot get it out the door same day like we used to be.
So Mark, I got a question. I mean, how many do you have friends in other distributors? I mean, I'm sure you do, right? I mean, you're not like
acquaintances, not friends, acquaintances. But they're all looking at a very similar thing.
Right.
Some other big ones have even closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't want any part of this, but our ownership is looking at this from a perspective that, if we close, we're not only hurting our staff regarding making money and selling, but we have thousands and thousands of dealers out there that are selling and that are open for business at a time where they need to be open for business to support people to protect themselves. And if we turn off, we're essentially turning them off too.
Right.
Because if they can't get product, they can't sell anything and they can't make money.
Yeah.
So, we have gone through significant, regular, almost full-time cleaning companies staying in our warehouse at all times. Because we're robotic, we have a very unique situation that we're able to really fairly easily keep people 10, 12, 15 feet apart from each other at all times, even with as many people in there. But we have a 500,000 square foot warehouse. So, it's pretty easy to keep people distance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest problem. Is not that the supply chain is not there. It's just there are so many orders in the pipeline. It's taking 14, 16, 18 days for product that they order to get to them.
Yeah.
So it's coming. It's just you need to be there when it gets there.
I'm gonna be that guy that tries to hold up a phone to a freaking. But that's a picture that my local range posted today, and they had about, I don't know, whatever that is, 40 to 50 guns come in. So that's what they posted, that, hey, we have guns again. So,
right.
They're hitting there. But, is it going to be like the toilet paper where as soon as they hit, everybody goes nuts again? And,
probably.
So who knows?
Yeah. So I've seen that here locally. Royal Range was one of the ones that the other Mark mentioned a minute ago, and they are a fantastic facility. We've had them on the show before, and so they posted a thing just I guess this was 2 days ago, and they were telling the other members that ranges 1 and 3, and they've got such a massive facility that's like 2 out of 5 ranges I think that they have are open to the public. Members are being asked to call and reserve a lane. Up to 5 people per range are allowed right now, and that's a state thing, right? Because the state of Tennessee has put in this. The governor has said no more gatherings of 10 or more people, until this thing is over with. And I've not heard of anybody like ratting each other out, right? Because you don't want to be that guy. But at these businesses, for sure, they have to really worry about that, or the governor is going to come down on them and say, hey, all right, you're done, right? To shut the doors. If we can't trust you to police it yourselves, then you're done. So that's got to be hurting, these places. Because, Mark, the gun industry for a while now, especially with the advent of the internet, the markup on firearms is not that significant, right? It's going to be ammo, accessories, gear. And then if you've got a range, that's where you're going to make your money. And, it's killing these people. I'm sure it is. So
accessories, absolutely. Accessories, transfers, optics, that sort of thing is definitely, and the biggest one is the used secondary market. Because nobody knows what your cost is on a used gun.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting conversation. Elliot, we could talk about that a little bit. Elliot and I do go a ways back because Elliot's one of the staff over on TennesseeGunOwners.com. And that's been my baby for the past, God, I don't know, 13 years now or so. And
something about like that.
Something like that, which is kind of hard to believe, right? So I think we're ticking in right now at just south of 30,000 members, and it kind of floats around there because we purge out inactives every so often. But the secondary market has been kind of booming on that.
Well, you go to the new post list, and it's just you see the green labels, which there's a little green flag that shows up for that's listed for everybody else. Green flag for this is a for sale item, and the new post list is just green flag after green flag after green flag after green flag.
Yeah, and it's changing. We're seeing turnover too, right? There's a guy right now that's looking. And I love the title of the thread. It was something like, "I want to buy your ugly Glock." Whatever.
Yes, the ugly Glock.
Whatever ugly Glock you've got. Like if it's been chewed on by your dog, if you've Cerakoted it and spray painted it, and it's all beat to hell or whatever else, I want it. I want to buy it. And under normal circumstances, that ad would have been gone within 30 minutes of the guy posting it because somebody would have offered him a Glock, right? Yeah.
Somebody would have found something to give them.
Well, and, and Glocks are selling fast too. For a while there, I listed like my old Gen 319 that I didn't need anymore. And I think it stayed on for about a week until somebody finally grabbed it. And we're seeing turnover that's like within 30 minutes to an hour right now of people, listing a firearm for sale in the secondary market, and it's gone.
People here who give their left nut for that Gen 319 right about now.
Yeah, they would. And I've had one that was up for sale for a while, and I'm not going to sell it cheap, but I pulled it off the market because the fact that first of all, I might wish I'd had that if I sold it, and secondly, I don't want to meet up with people right now. Like, I don't want to meet up with random people in public to sell a gun, not only because of health reasons, but this is also the kind of climate where in the past we've seen people be robbed. They set up a meeting with somebody and they show up, especially if it's on like Arms List or some other big national kind of like loosely moderated thing. They show up and the next thing you know, they're getting rolled and robbed and whatever. We're pretty lucky.
Well, that was why.
There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of people know each other on Tennessee gun owners, so there's a lot of stuff moving back and forth. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Elliot?
I was going to say that was why in the few times that I've sold guns in the past, I always had I would actually let them know, like, hey, I'm bringing a friend who's going to stand off at a distance, just letting you know he's with me.
Yeah,
he's not involved in the transaction. He's just there just in case.
Just to make sure that you don't act bad. Right. Yeah.
He's there to shoot you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
really
mean,
that's
basically what that's exactly what it was about. And the whole thing is my thought was, and I was like, hey, if you want to bring somebody to do the same thing, please do. It's like, just, if it scares you off, cool. I'm cool with that.
So be it. Right. Yeah. You can't be too safe.
Yeah, I mean, the secondary market's gotten kind of out of hand. I mean, I'm scrolling through Arms List of my region right now. Glock 19 MOS with a TLR1 for $950. It's like, come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We're pretty fortunate to have some options like this locally for secondary market for people to trade privately, legally, and I'm glad to. Yeah, I'm still astounded sometimes at how big the Tennessee gun owners has grown, but every state's got it, right? I mean, and I've chatted with the people that own Indiana gun owners and a couple of other similar websites, and not recently, but I think we've all kind of wondered if it was ever going to be like it was in 2012, 2013 again, and I think we're seeing it to a lesser degree. What's interesting about this is that after 2012, 2013, the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, you had a lot of people that wanted to buy. So you had the pro-gun people, but then you also had like a lot of anti-gun people, and they were joining to cause trouble. We had crazy denial of service attacks on our web servers and taking them down and things like that. Not seeing that right now. Everybody wants a freaking gun, right? I mean, the people that didn't want a gun back in 2012 suddenly want a gun, and so nobody's trying to take us offline, which is kind of crazy. It's just the only thing that would threaten to take us offline is traffic, legitimate traffic, and so far we're kind of keeping up with that too. Man, I had like some other questions, but I swore to myself that I wasn't going to go to 2:00 in the morning with this one, so I'm kind of like narrowing down on the end of that second hour here. I've got another question for you guys, and I apologize if I missed you in the training classes of the dry fire. I apologize, but I want to know, like, have any of you bought anything lately for your overall readiness package, quote unquote, that was spurred on specifically by the coronavirus pandemic? So I'm seeing some hands. Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm gonna give you the people that raised hands. Tony, what have you bought?
Muted, Tony.
Maybe. No, you're still muted. Looks like you're still muted. We'll come back to you, Tony. Promise. Unless you go ahead. Yeah, still can't hear you. Mark, I think you raised your hand. What have you bought?
My carry gun is a PO7, and so I went out and got a one of the airsoft versions of it, so that I can practice with it, and so that I can actually get some trigger time behind something.
Very good. No, that's smart. That probably made Jordan happy. He's not the only CZ guy on the call. So I had a PO7. Man, I missed my PO7. Why did I sell that gun? I don't know. I probably bought something that sucked.
David, I mean, times are tough right now, and I don't really want to sell any of my guns, but I do have a Pro Kit PO7 that, I could be persuaded to part
I love
with
the way that Ashley's looking at you as you're saying these words, man. I mean, like, she needs to be at every transaction that I even think about doing with you, because she's gonna that's right. Yes, you're the kid with her, right? So I kind of miss having a hammer fire gun, that's double action. I don't have any double action, single actions now at all.
Don't do it to yourself, David. Don't get a PO7. Get a PO1 or something.
Yeah, I mean,
something better.
A PO1, like the Omega, that's been on my short list for a while. I don't know why. I don't know what I would use it for.
I'm not sure why you skipped over the OZ9 for over a year now.
I was shopping for those the other day. I was looking at them online. I really was. So I love my 320. I really do. I never thought I would say those words, because the last 320 I had, I couldn't get rid of quick enough, it seemed like. I really like the X series. The grip on the X series is perfect. And I'm going to plug him. I'm going to put this thing right up in the camera. Look at that sexy stipple job on that. I mean, it kind of like changes weird direction, or it looks weird as I change directions with it and rotate it. But this was done by 3 Golf Gun Works, and he did a fan-freaking-tastic job on that. Gentle plug there for him.
Zach, you've got some drool coming out of the corner of your mouth.
Sorry about that, Zach. Man, I'm sorry. Look, I'll take 5 rounds out of this mag for you, and
slow.
Yeah, right. Just slow. Kind of. You want me to describe it to you as I listen. Hang on a second. Listen to this. Hear that? That's freedom coming out of a mag. I've got 4 of these in my hand now. I'm rolling them around gently in my hand. There it is. Now I'm on equal footing with California. Hey, hang on a sec. Now you have the upper hand. Now in California, I've only got 9 rounds in that mag now. So
I'd have to take half of my mag out to be compliant.
I don't know if I just did you a favor, if I'm like the biggest dick in the world for having done that, but I don't. I mean, it's kind of.
I love getting into it and when joining this. It's I know I'm an odd man out. It's fine.
Tony's got like a 20-round mag hanging out there in space. So, yeah. How many rounds is that, Tony? We can't hear you still. I don't know what happened to your audio, man. It's terrible. It's the government. The government is really completely censoring you here. So if
Tony's my favorite bald mime.
Yeah, I mean, so
I've never seen one before.
He is working. His company's working on a cure or a vaccine for coronavirus. If suddenly the video goes black, then we know the government's really in on this. So, yeah.
Oh man.
God, where was it? So yeah. What else? Buying things for your readiness. So I like the idea of the airsoft gun. I like the idea of the Mantis that Chad was showing us earlier. Mm-hmm. That's good for dry fire. Who else has bought anything for the coronavirus?
As far as firearms, I haven't. I think I mentioned it last week that I got a plate carrier and set of level 4 ceramic plates.
I don't think you did.
For myself.
Where'd you buy them from?
I think you just Body Armor Outlet.
Okay.
Or the plates anyway. They're rebranded Tesco 4401s. And so far I think I'm at, I don't know. They were supposed to have shipped end of last week. And now I'm being told that it could be that I have to wait until Monday to hear the production schedule. Yeah. So I'm kind of frustrated by that, but
so I have to ask,
I understand.
Are they NIJ certified or are they NIJ? Whatever?
No, they're certified. They're not El Cheapos, but that's why I'm waiting. So They are still pretty cheap. I think they're about the cheapest of the NIJ certified.
Go ahead and reduce the figure by enough since your wife's right there next to you. Go ahead.
So
you just buy one, get one, right? You know.
Actually, yeah. So because of my, normally I would have paid $249 shipped for a set,
in-network savings.
But I obviously didn't pay that much.
Right.
I earned $20 several times.
I cannot. Does the world know why Ashley's not drinking an alcoholic beverage tonight? Or can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Because I cannot wait for you to have to spend so much of your paycheck on diapers that you cannot buy Polymer anymore. I just cannot wait for that to happen. Ashley, congratulations.
Don't worry, we'll be reusing cloth.
I've been wanting to tell you congratulations now for like 2 hours. So.
Oh, thank you.
Sandy was in the other room. I texted her a little while ago and I said, "Hey, Ashley's on with Jordan," and she hated that she's not here. And she told me to tell you congratulations. I'm like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can say this, right? But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
buy it while you can. Buy it while you can, Jordan.
Yeah,
that's why I have so many guns already. It's because I wasn't married and. Yeah, I knew this day would be coming.
You Ashley, put those stamps in time, right?
Yeah, talk to Mark's wife about the diaper buying. She can help you out with that. So, yeah.
Fortunately, I'm not due until September, so I hope that a lot of this is blown over by then.
Yeah, I hope so too. But now's the time to start buying diapers. You just want to start like every week. Start putting in an order and
Tony agrees.
It's like ammo. It's like ammo, Ashley. Buy it cheap, stack it deep. I mean, that's what you want to do, right?
You still won't have enough.
You won't. I mean, Mark, you said Sawyer's got diapers until he's what, 16?
6.
6? Okay. Yeah.
At least 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, we could literally barricade our home with diapers.
Right. I wonder.
Are you now starting to stock up on pull-ups, Mark?
We have pull-ups too.
Okay.
If you have any extras over,
we're working on potty training now. Why do we need this many diapers? Like this.
I want to know. I really want to know. If I have any left over that like we're not using, like we go from a size to another size, we just can't use the old box. I'm taking them to the range. I want to see how many boxes of diapers it takes to stop a 9 mil, a 5.
No, you send them to Jordan.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I would do that, but for science, we need to know if you really, how many diapers is sufficient for a ballistic, stop. So,
and then we have to test them, get them wet in the box.
It's not going to help us.
Open the box, get them wet, then shoot them. I think would be the best.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
David, I think a better question is how many diapers does it take to buy a PO7 secondhand?
Man, it's not as many as you would think.
Not very.
Sounds like a trade deal working here.
Yeah. It is really not as many as you would think. Yeah. No, I think maybe that's what we need to do. We need to start we had a Freedom airdrop for Zach, and he's just gonna start getting like Huggies boxes with gun parts in them, and
that'd be too kind,
right?
I can't do that kind of kindness. Come on,
right? Yeah, like just throwing that out there. Anybody else bought anything cool? Like you were gonna maybe buy it one of these days anyway, and you went ahead and did it. So Zach, what you got?
So as restricted as I am with the California handgun roster, a buddy of mine picked up one a couple years ago, and I shot it not that long ago, and I kind of fell in love with it. And being a striker fire guy, I didn't think I was actually gonna love it the way I did. SP 2022.
Yep.
Otherwise known as the poor man's 226.
226. Yep.
They are underrated,
they are way underrated.
I'm fine with them being underrated because they are. It's easy to find them and they're affordable. So yes, absolutely. How you like it?
I really, really like it. It's accurate, and anyway, I'm only dealing with 10-round magazines. If you get enough magazines, that's not a problem.
It's definitely not. Yeah. No, that is.
Please come out with a holster for it. But
yeah.
So
you could do it, right? I mean, you easily could do a holster for those, Mark. So.
Yeah. So the problem with it is like back in the day, we used to make them all the time, and it was super popular. But that's when we were using Rings blue guns for our molding. And currently, as far as I know, it's the only mold company, only mold company out there that makes a mold is the Brings Blue Gun. And what sucks is they're just not accurate. They're just not accurate to spec whatsoever. So it's like when we're making a holster with a blue gun, we've got a 30% chance that holster's coming back. And then we get a black eye on the internet, and then we're either that or we're making another holster. So it's all the margins gone. Then we're paying another $8 to ship it. So we've just weeded out all manufacturers that only have blue guns available.
Yeah.
Because it's just not worth it. I mean, you love to be able to help people out, but we end up pissing off so many people. It's just people are not patient with this sort of thing, you know. But the only way that makes sense for us is when and if, and I can look or shoot me an email and I'll look around. But if I can find the real gun locally, I can have a buddy, you know, hey, bring me your 2022. Let me keep it in the shop a couple days. We'll make the holster, test it with the real gun, then ship it. Okay. And that way we can make any tweaks or adjustments needed in order to make sure your holster is right before we send it.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, I'm sure you're not the guy that's going to be all pissed off if it's not, but it's still a margin game, right? So, you know, if I got to ship something 3 times versus once, the margin's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got to ship it back and ship it to you again. And, you know, it's like, poof, then it just costs us money to make a holster. So don't mind doing that every once in a while, but it's also the customer service aspect of it too that's concerning. So yeah, if we can find the real gun, we can get it squared away.
Absolutely. Hey, you know, I wouldn't want to rake you over the coals for getting something just specially made for me and a couple of buddies, but you know, just looking around on the markets, and it's like We the People is the thing I've seen, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was just Googling them a minute, or Googling that model gun and holsters, and you know, there are some options there. We the People, obviously, they came up to the top.
More than likely. I mean, and you can, I mean, me as being a holster maker for, you know, 8-10 years now, I can look at a holster and kind of tell what it's made with.
Yep.
More than likely, We the People's making with a blue gun.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you know, we'll do some research around on this because, you know, maybe one of us can find something. And, you know, heck, you got a whole audience listening to this too. So if somebody knows of a holster manufacturer that
got a light on it, Zach?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Because if you get a light on it, it significantly reduces the chance of it not fitting. Yeah. Because we know the size of the TLR1 or the Surefire light that's on it because we have those, right? Yep. So if it's a light-bearing holster, then the majority of the fit needs to be focused on the light, not the gun.
Right.
So that's another option too. If you put a light on it.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, like if you throw an X300 or really like the X300 or the TLR1, either of those two
or
options.
TLR7.
Yeah, you know, and I'm thinking even too beyond Squared Away Customs, like you know, the filter, like the floodlight or whatever. I mean, you know, you might get a close fit, you know, because they're clamping on the light. I don't know. I mean, I still need to send Mark my staccato P so he can make me a holster that doesn't suck. You know, so that's going to have to happen sooner or later. Anybody else bought anything lately that was really either driven by the coronavirus pandemic or maybe accelerated your plans?
Tony, you got audio yet?
No, he doesn't. Man, this is terrible. I don't know what happened to Tony. It's a conspiracy, Tony. It is absolutely a conspiracy. I don't know.
One more thing I did pick up, just inspired by this, was a handful of life straws.
Yeah, you know, yes. I've got one. I need to buy another one. Yeah. Mark, you look like you got a thought there for a second. Mark Lancaster.
Which Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking that was a good thing to buy.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Absolutely a good thing to have in the truck and the bag and the all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, Sawyer's, I think, is 100,000 gallons of filtration and stuff. I found that at Walmart when all the bottled water was empty. I was able to pick up that handful of life straws and walk out the door, you know, just going, okay, well,
yeah,
I'm set if I need to use it, you know. But.
Right. Yeah. So I've bought ammo and really I ordered, so this is kind of an exercise in frustration. So like a lot of you guys, I follow Mr. Guns and Gear, and occasionally he'd post some ammo, and okay, well, I'm going to give it a shot because that's pre-panic pricing, and let's see what happens. I've had Academy Sports cancel 2 of my orders. I had Bass Pro Shop drag out an order for 2 boxes of 350 rounds each, Blazer brass, and they finally shipped and arrived last week, which I was thankful for. I got some 5.56. I did get an order from Academy that they didn't cancel. That was surprisingly enough XM85, green tip. The only thing is they capped you at that. You can only order like 10 boxes of it. So I think I got like 200 rounds by doing that. I bought a chest carrier. It's not a plate carrier. It's just a chest carrier for mags to throw over a plate carrier if I wanted to, or not. If I don't have a plate carrier, I could just throw it on and pray and run, duck, dodge, dip, dive, and dodge. Of all things, I looked at a couple of them. I thought, man, like my use case for this is so narrow. And then the plausibility of me needing it is so narrow. I don't want to like spend, real money to get a Vickers Tactical or a Haley Strategic or whatever. And I bought a Condor, right? So I've got the Condor Sloperator, Rhodesian looking chest rig, and it cost me $40 off of Amazon. And I'm like, hey, what? Yeah, I can throw 6 AR mags in it, and a couple of pistol mags. It's got like pouches for each of them. And I'm looking at it laying over here. It still got tags on it on the other side of my recording equipment, so I can't really get to it easily. But if $40, why not? It's worth a shot. And if it holds a couple of mags for just one engagement during the boogaloo, then I'm okay. But I'm looking at like body armor, like Jordan. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking more about that. Mark, you actually had a helmet that I think you modified slightly, right? I mean, so what do you have? What did you do? What?
Yeah, I mean, this was a couple years back. I was going to take a shoot house class, and I was required to have a helmet and body armor to stop any round that I would be shooting.
Okay.
So I got an actual old issued Army helmet that was Kevlar, but it was like the big one that came down over the ears.
Okay. Yeah.
GT.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I did is I cut it and modified it to be kind of like the fast one style, removing the earpiece coverage so that I could have ear pro that hinged from it down onto my ears and then back up onto the helmet if I wanted. Yeah. So there's a lot of dudes modifying them out there in internet space. And let me tell you what, cutting 5/8 inch thick Kevlar that's hardened and compressed into a helmet is probably one of the more challenging things I've ever tried to cut in my life.
So I was wondering, like, if you do that.
I did a lot of welding when I was younger and metal fabrication and work when I was younger. This is gnarly stuff to work on.
So, I mean, like no problems cutting it then? I mean, because I'm just thinking that seems like that would be.
Oh, absolute problems. Okay. I mean, I was trying multiple different tools, and what ended up happening is it's just layers of fiber essentially. So once, depending on what I was using, it just turned into like this rat's nest of hair rather than actually like a clean cut.
Right.
So it was really challenging. And I mean, I can go down a rabbit hole of describing how I did this, but I don't know if we want to take up this podcast time with it. But
we'll do the helmet podcast next.
It was definitely a challenge for sure. And I ended up getting it. It ended up coming out really good, but it was not a 5-minute project like I at one point anticipated.
Right.
A few hours into this thing to make it look awesome.
Yeah. So I tell you, the other thing that I'm really wanting to buy lately, and this is another thing that really pisses me off. I want another suppressor or two. And you throw your money in a hole and you just say goodbye to it for a year if you don't have an FFL,
Well, I learned of a new product, and I want to make sure I learned of a product that you could form one, and it's basically like an 80% suppressor.
Okay.
There's stacks of baffles that you screw onto each other, and it comes with the tool
to drill it.
And then you drill the hole.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen
JK Armament.
Yep. He's not taking orders right now, though.
Yeah.
If you have a trust set up through Silencer Shop, or if you want to purchase through them, they do have them available, which is probably why they're not available. So you can actually order, and they even have a Form 1 service, which I believe involves, I'm not sure if it involves engraving the can. I didn't look that closely into it, but that's what I would imagine that is. So you can just like getting a Form 4 can from them, you can order that and have it shipped to you. So check out Silencer Shop's website. They've got a lot of detailed info. And they show them as in stock.
I wonder how that really stacks up against a mass-produced, Form 4 suppressor.
Costa did a video with the guy from JK Armament, and I saw the little video, and I mean, you can only, for what it sounded pretty quiet, but I mean, and he was sans ear pro, so. Hey, my wife is calling me, so I'm going to disconnect.
All right, man. Take care. Glad to see you, Elliot. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I'm just curious, right? But that is one thing that I've wanted more lately, and or another one of more lately, or two or more lately, and it's like, well, I don't, what's the point, right? I mean, because I get the point, but the for me, it's just kind of I can either spend that money on something that I can take home with me now that I need more, or I can throw that money in a hole for a year, and hope that the ATF speeds up on their processing.
Honestly, they've been turning stamps around from stamps that went pending late October of last year.
Yeah,
they've been coming back much faster. They made some changes to the forms in September of last year. I don't know that had anything to do. I had 5 or so batched, including one that was an individual, and they were at 2 different dealers. So it's kind of a weird thing. And I had one that was as short as like 27 days from pending to approved. The others were like 126. Right? Form 4s.
As an individual,
Form 4s have dropped down. That's individual and trust. I keep up. Even now, I'm still watching. So there's a lot of guys that theirs went pending in like mid-October that are kind of, or early, that are getting screwed over on the wait times.
Yeah.
But I've seen under 50-day approvals from guys that didn't have any other cans. It wasn't like a batch approval with something older. So it's kind of inconsistent, and everyone's playing games trying to guess at how and why, what the process changes have been. But a lot of the examiners are working from home, so they must be taking stacks of paperwork home with them and processing, and then
I'm in favor of that.
Massive dumps.
Yeah, so I'm oh my God, you said massive dumps. So I'm in favor of that, because like even my own team at work, I know that, as crazy as it sounds, I can statistically prove it with data that we work more effectively at home than we do in the office, because my guys aren't distracted, right? I mean, they're sitting there at home, they're knocking out work, they're working through our tickets and things like that. We're kind of like an operations/project team. So, I mean, these guys are, like I said, I've just nothing but respect for these dudes, because they're just beasts when it comes to doing work. And they're more productive at home than they are in the office, because in the office you're gonna take a long lunch because you haven't seen everybody for a week. There's all these meetings that everybody feels like you need to come to a meeting. And one of the first memes I remember about seeing with coronavirus was like, I guess we're all about to go see what meetings were really essential, right? And so, damn if that wasn't the truth. And, I chuckled when I saw it. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of crap that's not going to be a meeting now. It's going to be a conference call or an email or whatever. And now that we've had less of these time-sucking meetings, guys are cranking out work. So maybe the ATF's going through the same thing. I don't know. They got nothing else better to do. They're not out. Never mind. I'm not going to make shooting dogs jokes tonight with ATF, because I want them to process orders quickly for me if I put one in.
Well, suppressor sales have been huge too, so that's a problem,
right?
That's going to slow things down.
I was going to say they're not out shooting other people's dogs, but I'm not going to make that joke, right? Because
David, it's totally possible they could have taken a break from shooting dogs to light up a church in Louisville or somewhere else. So you never know.
You never know. Well, you've got all the suppressors you want, right? So,
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, your wife's
after the
that question
podcast
for you. I don't know if you can see
like
the way
Ashley may be buying some soon.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I'm sure it's the same way for them too. And the ATF folks that I've dealt with locally have been super nice. And one of them's even got a dog, right? And so the dog gets more attention back in the day when I, hangar and gun shops enough to see the ATF coming in and checking books and stuff. The dog.
Any chance the dog's name was Fred?
No. Dog's name was Boomer. So it was fun. So yeah, Boomer was a yellow lab. But anyway, they were good people and they, I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna go off on a tangent. Yeah, that's kind of, Mark, I'm kind of like out of questions, and we're definitely into the second hour, going into the second half, the half hour of the second hour or whatever here. You got any questions you want to ask everybody, or what do we want to do here?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Has anybody else felt like the lull, like I was mentioning in the chatter? Or is this a regional thing for me, or is this kind of what you guys have noticed this week for yourselves as well?
You're talking about the lull and just like people's fervor around the coronavirus.
I just feel like last week all of it had me kind of on edge and a little nervous, and I feel like over this past week I've been not nervous and not feeling as on edge as to what the hell is going on and what's this, is this going to be like a doomsday situation? You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's just kind of taking a break, and I don't understand if it's necessarily me not being exposed or if it's regional or if this is kind of the pulse everywhere.
I'm going to let other people answer that one because I've got a thought, and it's not probably a new or unique thought, but
I think it's regional, maybe, because I know down here that it's intensifying, not really going to a lull. We're seeing more restrictions. More restrictions are supposed to kick in on Monday than were today or yesterday. So we've already got a limited number of people allowed in grocery stores. You've got Walmart taping off electronic areas where people can't purchase things except essential goods. Still shortages of food in the huge, like Food Lines and Harris Teeters and such. People going to IGAs and little mom and pop on places to find food. Which I don't watch the news anyway, but they play it constantly at work on a 75-inch screen so everybody can see.
See, that's my problem. You can't even watch the news and get who killed who and where they did it at.
Man,
you can't get.
Where are the good old days?
I'll tell you what, man. I need to know if it's down the street they're murdering folks. I need to be ready.
Right.
You can't get the weather. My God, man, I'll sit and try to watch the weather, and it's 45 minutes worth of virus, and then the weather chick working from home.
Yeah.
Gives you 2 minutes of weather. And I'm like, this is freaking bull crap. I'm going to tell you, man, it triggers me so freaking bad, man. I just can't watch it anymore. I just can't do it.
The ham radio, it's got the weather all the time.
Yeah, Chris, I noticed that our local, I forget what affiliate they are. I think like CBS maybe, but I was watching it the other morning. I got up to, one day last week, I was proud of myself. I was like, I feel good. I'm awake. I'm going to go work out. And that happened once. So I was up on the rowing machine and I turned on the news and I was like, well, damn, she's working from home. And it was like you said, it's the weather reporter. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess, interesting. Right. But, the weather app on my, I use AccuWeather on my phone and on my desktop both. And it keeps prompting me every day for the latest coronavirus updates. And I don't want that from the weather app. I want to know, is it going to be sunny outside? Are we have tornadoes? What's going on? So everything's coronavirus.
Yeah,
everything.
I can't even order gun parts because of coronavirus.
Yeah, I never thought we'd be here. Really, I didn't. If I did, I probably would have stocked up on more N95 masks and nitrile rubber gloves and things. But I don't know. Who else? I mean, Mark's question about the lull. Are you seeing it at all? So
I can personally say that I'm not. I mean, I know California is very populated.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people. Like I said before, everyone's on edge. I've commented this on maybe not necessarily the Shooters Nation forums or whatever, but I think it's a matter of time before people run out of money to buy food, and we're being held up outside of grocery stores. And it's not going to be for your money. It's going to be for what's in your cart, what you're loading into whatever groceries you have, and dry goods being as low as they are. And you can get a microwave, microwave goods, but that's only going to hold you over for so long compared to a couple pounds of rice or whatever.
I think you're right. Mark made a comment last episode. The father of a bunch of kids that's desperate to feed his family. That guy's going to think of doing things he didn't think about doing before. And that's unfortunate.
That's thick times.
Yeah,
I heard you guys mention that, and to be honest, I don't think a single father, even within this group, wouldn't be that guy necessarily if they weren't prepared enough. I mean, I hate to say it, it's just that there's not a person amongst at least this group that wouldn't do something to help their family if they needed it.
Yeah.
My neighbor worked for IBM and got laid off in March.
Yeah, we're seeing that. Man, we saw hospitals because of the fact that I'll run through this real quick, but in Tennessee at least, the governor has not mandated that the hospitals only focus on COVID type patients, but they've very strongly encouraged that you just don't waste your time and your resources on elective care, like elective surgeries. Man, my knee bothers me every so often. I really ought to go have that thing scoped and fixed. That's elective. If your knee's not about to fall off your body, then you don't need it done right now. That's elective. Hospitals are not even doing it. Doctors aren't doing it, right? So the doctors that are not involved in the front lines of this stuff, they're not necessarily wanting to go in and do this kind of stuff and be exposed and expose whole surgical teams to what you may or may not have. So we got a lot of hospitals are sitting empty, other than ERs and or other than ICUs. And the crazy thing about a hospital that has maybe 200 beds, your ICU may be 10 of those beds, and the big difference between an ICU and the non-ICU bed is the support equipment that it has available to it, life support equipment, ventilators and things like that, and also containment. Some rooms are considered negative air pressure rooms that when you open the door from the hallway, you can feel the air suck into the room. That's the way so that whatever is inside, if they're contagious, it doesn't flow out to the rest of the hospital. Not every room's set up like that. So there's a very limited number of rooms that you can use for coronavirus patients and stuff. So you got a lot of hospitals are sitting really damn empty right now. We've had hospitals in the area lay off 200-300 staff, including nurses. Right. And when you watch the news, you think that's insane. We need every single one of them. We need them available, but we're not seeing the surge, the virus surge. I guess to your point, Mark, about the lull, we're not seeing it yet. So I don't know if it means that we've, the sheltering in place and the social distancing and stuff worked. It's hard to prove a negative. It's very hard to prove a negative. It's, and the bad thing about proving a negative is that both sides of the argument are using the same data to substantiate their case. The guy that says, well, it worked, is saying, well, look, you don't have the cases. The guy that thinks it's BS is saying, look, you don't have the cases, right? And so it's well, stalemate. The only way you sort that out and figure out who's right is you just say, okay, well, everybody go back to living life as normal. And then one of them's going to be right. And the crappy thing is it may be the guy you don't want to be right. So My company, man, we took a pay cut like across the board. And I think we talked about this last time, Mark. Like I took a 10% pay cut, and people higher up in management than I am took 20, 30%. 50% of our CEO took a 100% pay cut and stuff like that. Strictly to build a war chest of money to keep nurses paid and employed, even though they didn't have patients to take care of, because we know that sooner or later, the patients are coming back. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, I think for us, the thing that was interesting, if you're not in Tennessee, you maybe didn't know this, but the NRA annual meeting that was supposed to have been happening next week in Nashville, right, was at the Music City Center in Nashville. The Music City Center is amazing. Like I remember when that area where it sits now was just all crappy rundown businesses, and it's huge. It is absolutely huge. I guess 3 weeks ago, while we were meeting with some doctors from another hospital taking care of our youngest, told us in passing, something I hadn't heard before. And I'm like, in the freaking healthcare industry. He goes, like the governor's looking at turning the Music City Center into a coronavirus hospital. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait, what? When I say I'm in healthcare, like I'm not like clinical, but I'm in the business side of healthcare. And it seemed like I should have heard that by now. And clearly I didn't, because, there's some things that the government and businesses are not just doling out there for the public to freak out about early, but they had a plan to put 1,600 beds in this center and turn it into a coronavirus triage center. Like the Army Corps of Engineers is coming in to improve the air filtration, to plumb the building with oxygen and other gases that are needed for life support and things like that. Like they're like really gearing this thing up to be a coronavirus, epicenter. My knowledge, we're not using it yet. Right. So did we miss it? Did the surge really happen? Was it not going to happen? Were we all wrong? Was it overhyped? I have no damn idea. I have no idea at all, but I still know people that know people that have died from this. So, yeah.
I got another. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, I have another question for everybody too, after we're done with this one.
All right. Well, I'll just say I'm kind of feeling the same thing that you expressed, Mark. And I don't. This is a hard equivalency for me to make because I was so young at the time. But right now reminds me a lot of just the feeling of uncertainty. It's not really a sufficient word, but it just reminds me of after 9/11. Just kind of the weird, panicky feeling that I had as a kid, seeing my parents and all the adults I knew not knowing what was going to happen, what this all meant for us. And even though other than the inconveniences of businesses being shut and certain things being in short supply at the grocery stores, really hasn't affected us yet, but I absolutely see. I guess one of the things that probably what makes me the most uncomfortable is just seeing how we're being programmed to accept, like, even terms like the new normal, right? Mm-hmm. It's not even about the why, but we're being programmed to accept that certain things which are deemed non-essential can be shut. Like we're being, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and I certainly have opinions about that. We're setting that precedent, and we're deeming not only businesses or religious gatherings, but products themselves as either essential or non-essential. We're classifying workers as essential or non-essential. And I really don't see, there's a disturbing lack of pushback from the average citizen on those proclamations that are handed down. And I can only think that when people do start to run out of money, or their money is worth very little, like that pushback will come at some point. And if it's out of desperation rather than out of principle, I'm really kind of fearful for what that looks like.
And let me say something right quick.
Yeah.
I think Jordan's exactly right. And I think the reason that we don't have the pushback yet is because the media is just shoving it down our throat. And it's got everybody scared to the point that, it's like, hey, we need to do what they say because this thing's, god awful. And if we don't do what they say, then, we could all really die. And I don't think anybody's really looking at the data. I don't think anybody's really using their head. And then the ones that do try to say something about it, which to be honest is me, we're looked at like, hey, you're nuts. Why aren't you wearing a mask? And this and that. And I'm like, dude, come on with this. You and I've had that discussion. And, to go back to something that Zach was saying earlier, about being scared and, how long this is going to drag out. I'll be honest. I'll tell you, like I told my parents, like I told my wife, I said, I've been in the transportation industry like you have. I've been in it all my life. And what I told them is we'll hang tough as long as these trucks are rolling up down the road, we'll be okay. But the minute they stop, it's going to go to hell in a handbasket real quick.
You guys are the lifeblood.
Go ahead.
That's all I mean to say is you guys are the lifeblood, and you keep those trucks rolling. You keep getting stuff to us. We appreciate it, and thank you from all of us. Anybody in the transportation industry, you guys are putting not only every day, even before all this, you're putting your life on the line, just riding through those conditions and stuff. And we appreciate it, and it's those words seem empty to really say. We need you guys, and we're only going to get through this together as united. But,
that's a good segue to a thought that I had as Jordan was speaking. So Jordan, what I remember about 9/11 in the months, the weeks, the days immediately following 9/11, there was that stunned, realization as it sunk in and they began to process, what had just happened and then what it meant. But the weeks that followed, I think the country was more united than I've ever seen it. Right. I mean, people were proud to fly the flag. There was a lot of community. There was a lot of people reaching out to each other. We're united. And right now, though, I feel like the big difference is we're not necessarily united, and we're kind of being played against each other from an extent of like, rat out the neighbor that's got 12 people at his house instead of 10.
That's happening here in North Carolina. Yeah. Somebody had a birthday party and the cops got called.
Yeah.
And there is pushback. There's some pushback here in North Carolina. Nobody's probably heard it. But in 3 different cities in North Carolina, there's been 3 different pastors arrested, not at church, but for gathering outside an abortion clinic with like Love Life. And the cops came in swarms. I mean, literally 15 cars.
Yeah.
And arrested people.
There's so much of a disparity between what we had after 9/11 and what we've got right now. The media, they're very culpable for what's going on because, let's be honest, the media relies on eyeballs and ears to generate money. It's not a new saying, but it's something that comes to mind whenever I hear this. Whenever I think about this kind of thing, is the old adage, like you think about social media, Facebook, Twitter. If you're not paying for the service, if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product, right? Mm-hmm. Like so, anything that delivers advertising to you, you're not paying for the news. Unless even still, if you're paying for cable, you're not paying for the news. You're paying for the services bring it to you. You are the product, right? The news agencies are selling advertising because they know they can get it to you, and that's lucrative to the advertisers. So you are the product. We're all essentially cattle to a certain extent. But right now, it seems like more than ever, some media outlets are absolutely hyping it up, and it's every 60 seconds there's a Corona update on the big cable news networks and stuff because it keeps you glued to the TV. And it's to their advantage to their benefit to keep us all a little bit scared. Keep us all worried, keep us all glued to it. What's happening next? The downside of that is it makes it hard to filter out the complete BS from the news that you need to hear. Right here's an update about Corona that you really need to know, but it's in the middle of it's trying to pick out a voice from a stadium full of people talking, and you may miss that critical piece that actually makes sense. This is to your benefit to know this, and the whole thing's it's frustrating.
That's a great point.
Very frustrating. So we miss the good stuff in the middle of all the noise, or the stuff that's pertinent. It also makes it really hard to figure out, when you have medical experts that are saying, please listen to me, this is something you need to do. But then you've got the rest of the talking heads on the media telling you another thing that's completely different. You miss it. And so, who was it? Is one of the famous docs that's probably been like Oprah or some crap like that. He just let the media have it several times over the past
Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm like, yeah, man, go after, get them, break off a piece of that. But
another part of this is that we were already very divided because of election hype right before all of this. Mm-hmm. And then you slap all this onto us, it's bad timing, but,
or perfect timing.
Like it was planned.
Or perfect timing. Yeah. I don't know. I think from what I've seen clinically, there are definitely people dying from this. There are definitely people that the crazy thing about the coronavirus is it seems to be more like an autoimmune disease, almost like HIV, where it presents in different ways. Right there's and I'm not medically trained really. I live with somebody that is, but it presents in different ways. When you see that person that there was an article the other day that was written by a physician that he specialized in respiratory conditions, and he fairly young, healthy, exercised, ate well, damn near killed him. In the room next to him, in the exact same room, in the bed next to him in his room, he's got an 80-something-year-old man that is also coronavirus positive, and the guy's talking, laughing, and talking to people on his cell phone. He's like, yeah, I'll be out here in 3 days, and sure enough, the guy was out in 3 days because he was fine. And meanwhile, the healthy physician that's several years younger is about to die. And it's just because it presents in different ways to different people. So I think that's the thing is, it's real. It could either be no big deal to you at all, or it could be a big deal. The thing that makes the most sense for me, clinically speaking, because I've seen it, is that, hospitals have a limited number of beds they can put you in if you're in the worst case scenario. And that's why this whole curve thing matters. Flattening the curve, prolonging the curve, dragging the curve out, whatever you want to call it, it matters, because if we overwhelm the hospitals all at once, we're screwed. So, there's aspects of this.
The question that I have is, has the curve been flattened already?
Yeah.
Has the virus been around much longer than they actually are telling us?
Great question.
Back in February, my mom got really sick with what we thought was the flu. And I've never seen her that sick before.
Yeah.
She was in bed for almost over a week. And then she had a really nasty cough that just lingered for 3 or 4 weeks after that. But no one else in the house got sick. My dad didn't get sick. He was still sleeping in the same bed with her. Right. My sister didn't get sick. My brother didn't get sick. So, it seems like it was a coronavirus, but no one else got it.
Yeah,
well, and it's not like it's just your mom. That's been a report that we've seen from plenty of people locally. I had something. You probably remember me kind of joking around Riley back at the end of January, because I flew through Chicago into Toronto and had a 4-hour layover in Chicago, and those were the two cities, other than California or Washington, where there were confirmed cases of people traveling through. And I was like, this is it. And but it was, I don't know. Again, it could have been influenza, but there are quite a few people that have reported having symptoms and going to the doctors and being told it's not influenza. It's not any of these strains. I think Brad was talking about that last week after.
I work with a guy that did this. He and his whole family went on a cruise in the Mediterranean, came back, and every daggone one of them got sick. They went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "No, it's not the flu. We can't. You got a virus of some kind," is what they were told them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but in order to know whether or not you had it before then, you have to know whether or not you can trust China, right? And I think we all kind of know the answer to that one. So, I don't know. As these tests for coronavirus become more prevalent, I think what they're doing is they're looking for the antibodies, in your bloodstream. Be interesting to see how many of us take the test in a few months and find out that we had it. And we didn't realize we had it, right?
I didn't catch whatever he had. He had a really nasty cough that stuck around for a while, like corona, but I didn't catch at all what he had. Yeah. And then you had a cold a couple weeks ago, and I caught that.
Yeah.
So who knows? It makes me really suspicious that corona is quite as bad. Syphilis. I don't know.
So, yeah, when Jordan's nose gets really red,
listen to the voice of personal experience.
Syphilis.
Actually,
medical. I live with medical people. I'm in the medical field, so yeah, it's syphilis. He looks very syphilitic right now. I'm just telling you, it's probably like a dormant.
Even the number of deaths that they're
I probably
talking
have
about,
it now.
Even those numbers, if somebody's in a car accident and they come through and they look at their lungs and they say, well, this person had coronavirus.
Yeah.
Well, then they died.
Oh, they died of coronavirus. Yeah.
Of coronavirus.
Yeah.
So the numbers are really skewed either way.
I forget.
The other thing, someone mentioned looking at the data earlier. I think it might have been Chris. And the problem is it's not just the reporting that's skewed, but also the data collection and understanding that like we're dealing with so many different countries that define that have agendas and how they report data.
Oh, sure.
The methods, the testing methods used differ so widely. The reporting differs so widely. I think it all just leads to rightly not just a lack of trust, but an absolute mistrust where whatever you're told, that there's so many layers of agenda stacked on top of each other that you want to reject it out of hand almost because you're more likely to, and whether that's right or not, I at least feel that and I see that. Yeah. Right. And it's like, it just, if I know that I'm the product, my natural inclination is to just reject what I'm being told. And then it kind of makes you, and here's the crazy thing is, I jokingly had the little InfoWars banner up behind me as a virtual, but it's not like I'm listening to Alex Jones as a source. But here's the thing is we're living in times where like I open Spotify to play a song and they've got a COVID-19. I do a Google search for literally anything. And here's an official, any YouTube video you pull up, there's a little banner and anyone that dares to say something or even share an article that they're disagreeing with and just saying, hey, here's what this crazy kook is reporting can get shut down just for sharing the article. Sure. Well, so we're living in these times where we distrust the media. Yeah. And yet the very distribution channels are shutting out anything that doesn't align with the mainstream narrative, and it gives validity to any other theory, including 5G towers and whatever else.
You get information there. Yeah.
Last week when I sent the invite out to everybody in the Shooters Nation community through Facebook, the Facebook invite, as soon as I click the send button, I get a pop up from Facebook says, we see that you're trying to have conversations regarding COVID-19. Please make sure that you're having that you're spreading accurate and intelligent information.
Encouraging and accurate.
If you need the accurate and intelligent information, click here.
Jeez.
And I'm like, well, I just got put on a Facebook list.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously. And I was just like, wow, that's freaking hilarious.
Oh, me. I never thought I'd say that. I missed the Bloomberg ads on, streaming media, but I kind of missed the Bloomberg ads, right?
No, I don't miss those.
No, you don't? No, really? I mean, I kind of, I don't know. It'd be a change from all the Corona madness. Well,
Super Bowl commercials run on repeat.
Yeah.
That'd be better.
All right. So I guess, here's kind of the thing. We're definitely drawing in on like the end of the third hour that I swore wasn't going to happen, but we're here. And I'm okay with that, strangely. But tomorrow is Easter Sunday. And I think my wife would just absolutely kick my butt if I slept in until noon. So, in the interest of preserving sanctity and harmony, that word, with everybody, especially those of you that may have to pay for it tomorrow if you're up all night. I'm gonna go ahead and move us towards the very ending segment of this. However, if folks want to hang around and talk after the fact, I'm okay with that. We'll just kind of kill the YouTube stream. So those of you that have been watching on YouTube, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Next time, with any luck, maybe we'll also stream it on Facebook. I do want to remind you guys so that we're going to keep doing these, right, Mark? I mean, we're going to keep doing these on Saturday nights. May even shoehorn in some real actual episodes somewhere in the mix of all this. Several things I want to remind you of. I made a promise to you guys, or I threw this out last week, and I still want you to do it. So if you're sitting around tomorrow at the Easter gatherings, and you just want to set the phone on the table and hit the MP3 record button and have a talk about, how life is right now and how it's different, especially if there's any kind of a 2A bend to it, record it. If you want to share it, I will try to take these and package them up and just put them out there as, shooters, glimpses into the Shooters Nation community, and that kind of thing. So, definitely interested in hearing, how things are going with you all. And this is good, I think, for all of us. And I've enjoyed it. Mark, I know you have too. So, that looks almost like a Biden-esque hug there, Jordan. So, yeah, feel free to do that and send them my way if you get them. We'll definitely stitch them together and turn them into, mini episodes, if you will. Beyond that, if you're not already a member of the Facebook Shooters Nation community, that is different from the Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com/Shooters Nation, that's the page. That's fine. That's where we announce episodes and things like that. To get the invite to do this with us, you want to be a member of the community, and that's a group. Click on the community link. You'll see a link in there to groups. Go over to the Shooters Nation community, join that, send a request in. We'll approve it. We'll get you in here, and then you get the announcement for these live streaming events, and you can participate like these folks have, which we really appreciate y'all for doing that. Beyond that, ways that you can connect with us after the show. Mark, how do folks connect with you after the show if they've never listened to an episode before or ever in their lives? How do they do that?
Mark at shootersnation.com.
Yep. And you know a guy that makes holsters.
Yes, you can absolutely reach out to scoredawaycustoms.com. Use coupon code ShootersNation to save some money.
That's right. Look at that. There are Squared Away Custom holsters appearing on camera right now. That is fantastic. So, Jordan, you might be the only guy that has a red flannel Squared Away Custom.
He is the only one.
Yeah.
Yep. The only one.
That is. Look at that. I mean, like it is camouflage for your holster with that shirt right now.
Him and Al off at full time.
Yeah. Man. All right. So, connect with me, David at shootersnation.com. Email address. Again, hop over to shootersnation.com. It's going to link you to all of our social media, Instagram, things like that. I guess really we want you guys to sign up for the group. So go to facebook.com/Shooters Nation and sign up for the group. That's how you're going to find out about this kind of stuff. We're going to keep doing this. I guess it's going to be Saturday nights until the coronavirus thing ends, or we get tired of it, or you get tired of us. Like when we show up and it's just me and Mark staring at each other on a Saturday night, we're going to record an episode. And it's going to be about whatever the heck we want to talk about. So if you want to postpone that, keep showing up here and joining us. Mark, any other closing thoughts you can think of?
I'll save it for next time.
Save it for next time? All right, cool. All right, sounds good. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate those of you that joined the live show this evening. It was definitely a lot of fun. It was good to hear from you all and at least see that you're well enough. Nobody seems to be like in dire straits right now, so I'm glad for that. One gentleman's in California. That's about as dire as I can think of. So, but you're healthy in California, and you're demonstrating your 2A rights over there. So that's good.
Fight the good fight.
Right, fighting the good fight. So But anyway, that's it for this this episode. We're going to kill the YouTube stream now, and we will talk to you all again next week.
The preceding segment was a production of the Shooters Nation podcast. Visit us online at shootersnation.com.